Mm. Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, it's so cold. Good morning. Hello. Hi. Good morning. It's very early in the morning. I've recently woken up. And welcome to Sadistic Saturday. How are you doing? It's only going to be a short stream today, just like last week. I got stuff to do, but that doesn't mean I can't squeeze a little something in. Hey, chicka bum bum, bow chicka bow wow. Oh yeah. But yeah, I hope you're doing well. Because let's face it, you guys are us and you deserve to be happy. But today, for Sadistic Saturday, we're going to be doing some reactions. Even though this is only going to be a short stream, it's going to be a reaction stream instead of a game stream. I've labeled it an art stream because I'm going to be drawing at the same time. But yeah, hopefully everything goes well. This is like 2 hours before I would normally stream, so it's bloody early in the morning for me on a Saturday. It's chilly, but I figure we get warmed up by being creeped out and scared, and yeah, we'll see how we go. You're doing good, Jade. I'm glad to hear it. How's your Saturday morning been going? Hello there, Simon. I hope your headache has gotten better. I really do. Yeah. I've lined up some videos that should be creepy and scary and stuff. That we're gonna watch while I draw. I do some drawing. I'm still working on the color wheel with Neko. Currently working on the green foreground, where I'm drawing some dryads, which look a little funny, but it's because they're not done yet. But yeah, as you will see momentarily, let me just bring it up. Okay. Here's the color wheel that I've been working on with Neko. As you can see, we've got Jessica Rabbit up there in red. Oop. Got Jessica Rabbit up there in red. And we've got a cute little Charmander in orange. And I put a little pirate in between the two. Because why not? I am thinking about turning this pirate into an emote. What do you guys think? I'd love to know your thoughts on the matter. I think it might make a cute little Halloween one because I'm hugging a skull pillow. But I think it looks super cute, and I'm thinking it would be a great little Halloween emote. Because of it being a skull pillow that I'm in fact hugging. Actually, I love the Cupid doll little face that I've given myself here. But I also really love how I did. Oh wait, I'm not onto the yellow yet. The little fire heart that I did above Charmander. I think that's really cute. Okay, see you when you get back, Simon. Yeah, I think the fire heart is quite cute and also could be a cute little emote. But I'm not sure about that one. So that will have to take some thoughts and descriptions from you guys. But look at how cute the Charmander is. It's like Charmander Char. It's a reason why it's my favorite fucking Pokemon. It's so cute. And look at those big blue eyes. It's like, ah. Oh yeah, basically with the colour wheel, I know it's been a while since I've done some work publicly on it. Hitsuko, Neko and I are working on this together. So in the end, it's going to be a combined colour wheel of the two of us, where with the different colours, one of us is doing the foreground, one of us is doing the background. And red, orange and yellow are all ones that I got the foreground for. So yeah. And this is my yellow, which I chose to do Queen Bey from Hell of a Boss. And I'm actually still shocked at how well I drew her art style, because damn, that looks so good. And I love the honey that I did behind it. It's just, oh, I can't wait to see what Neko did for yellow to put with it, because she looks awesome. The one I'm working on right now is the foreground for green, which I'm doing these for Dryad Sisters. And I've got to finish blending out the bark skin and then add some of the leafy furry parts. Let's see. We have a waterfall that I did for the background of blue, where Neko's doing the foreground. I have an amethyst cave for indigo. I haven't done purple yet, saving it for last because it was the one that came up last. Oh, hello there, that Gaming Third, how you doing? Hi Cute Pyra, how are you? I'm doing pretty good. It's a bit chilly where I am, but at least I'm streaming because I love it. I really do. Going through the colour wheel right now. Oh, it's M. Why'd you change your name, M? And it's a pleasure to have you again, M. Why'd you change your name? And for pink, I got the background. And as for Lucid Suggestions, it's a rebrand, but it's a lovely... I see. It's lovely to hear from you as well. And for pink, I got the background, and so as per Lucid's suggestion, when I was drawing during stream, I did a cherry blossom tree, which turned out so much better than I expected. I mean, look at that. I was super proud of that. But yeah. Hey, Em, can I get your thoughts on something? I'm working on a colour wheel with Neko, and I drew this little me holding a skull pillow, and I was wondering if you thought it would make a cute Halloween emote. Look at it, it's so cute. If I don't say so myself. Yeah, I think it's super cute. But I think it might make a good emote. I don't know. Yeah. But as you guys know, I don't normally stream this early in the day. But I do, hopefully Twitch won't give me hell for those. By the way, Pyra, I just gotta understand that I said aren't entertaining, they're just creepy. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah. I put it in between a couple of other ones on like Urban Legends and stuff. Oh, Lucid, do you remember how you suggested drawing a cherry blossom tree for pink background? Well, this is what it ended up looking like. I think the leaves and that turned out so well. It's been a while since I've drawn leaves and stuff, but it's good. Yeah, that's what I meant by moon for cherry blossom tree. Um, I'm also thinking of turning this little Pyra with the skull pillow into an emote because I think it's cute. You know, a special one for Halloween because it's like a skull cushion. But yeah, it's just an idea I've had. I'm thinking about it. But right now I'm working on Green's foreground. And I've got these dryad sisters that I've been blending in the skull, the bark skin before adding leaves and stuff. You'd better get some thigh highs and with skull patterns on them. I have knee highs with skulls on them, but that's in reality. But I was thinking it would make a cute emote, that one. Because I do actually have a lot of skulls, I do. But yeah, getting the Dryad Sisters bark skin finish. I hope Twitch doesn't get me in trouble for drawing the bark skin like that, but hey, blending it out. Then I've got to add color and then add the leaves and fairy parts. But yeah. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for it, because that would be bad. So yeah, that's what I'm up to with the art today, and I guess it's time to bring up the videos. Huh. For Halloween, you should do Ellie. No, I've already picked out my costumes for Halloween. I've got 2 anime and 2 VTuber picked out to do. Yeah. And Alizé is not on the list. No. It's not. Nope. I already said, if I ever do something like that, it will be because of like a subathon or something. Because watching it enough to make a model and persona would drive me insane, so I may as well get something for it. Exactly. I'd have to watch it enough to be able to get that. And I'm only going to do that if I'm getting something out of it. So yeah, you'll have to deal with my 2 anime characters and my 2 VTubers. But I do believe I chose well. They are already picked out. And well, I already said who the first one is before on stream. But yeah, I'm gonna keep the VTuber costumes secret. Maybe have a little guessing game about it. I don't know. See if I can get you guys to guess it. But that's gonna be a bit closer to the date. And if I've got to watch LEG, you guys are watching it with me. That way we can share the pain! Don't you love rolling with you? Oh no, I do love it hanging out with you guys and stuff, but it's the other stuff of LEG that just hurts my brain. But yeah. Oh, gotta unmute that. That's where the volume's supposed to come out. Isn't that what a person used to say? Wait, what? What person? What person? I didn't enjoy those people. Yeah, she did. She was always rolling with her crew. Hanging out. They're lucky. They're smoking joints. Fucking Jeff. Anyway, on to the videos.
It's hard to trace them back to a specific time and place because they blur the lines between fact and fiction, but today I've assembled a series of urban legends that are known to have begun circulating in the 1970s. What urban legends decade would you want to see us cover next? Let me know in the comments. I'm your host James, and these are the top 10 scary urban legends from the 70s. Bubble Yum. We're starting off the list with Bubble Yum. Produced by Lifesavers, it was the first soft bubble gum to hit the market in 1975. And it was a big hit. It tasted great, the demand was high, but some started to wonder just how they got the stuff to be so nice and soft. And this is where school kids would use their wild imaginations and start to make up stories of their own. Around 1977, rumors started to spread that this delicious gum was actually made out of spider eggs. Now, this seems completely ludicrous. There are far softer things than spider eggs. The crazy thing is, this rumor actually caught on. It spread fast, and sales of this once very popular gum actually started to decline. This became such a big problem for Lifesavers that they were forced to actually take out an ad in the paper specifically addressing this rumor, with the headline reading, "Someone is telling your kids very bad lies about a very good gum." At number 9, we have the Life Cereal Kid. John Gilchrist was a child actor, most famous for his role as Mikey in a very popular commercial for Life Cereal in 1972. But in the late 70s, a story began spreading around schoolyards across America that Mikey from the commercial had consumed a lethal dose of Pop Rocks and Coca-Cola. The combined carbonation of these two products leading to his stomach exploding. Other versions go that his head exploded, but the point is, the poor chap was said to have died as a result of this explosive mix. The story became so famous that Mikey himself, John, who is very much alive, recalled his mother receiving a phone call from someone paying their respects to her son. His mother was completely baffled, as John was perfectly fine out playing baseball. She had John's brother go to the field to make sure he was okay though, and that's when John first heard about the wild Pop Rocks and Coke rumor going around. Around this same time, the sales of Pop Rocks started to plummet as this urban legend became more and more widespread. Number 8, Momo the Monster, aka the Missouri Monster. This is an ape-like creature that was reported by a number of witnesses in rural Louisiana in 1971 and 72. It was described as being around 7 feet tall, covered in fur, with a large pumpkin-shaped head and glowing orange eyes. The most famous sighting happened on July 11th, 1972. A teenage girl named Doris was in the kitchen. Her 2 younger brothers were out playing in the backyard when suddenly she heard them scream. Doris looked out the window and saw a large, hairy creature matching the description above, carrying a dead dog. Tons of reports would come in that year, and it eventually led to a crew of hunters being assembled to try and track the creature down, but nothing was ever found, and the sightings pretty much stopped after that. At number 7, we have Gene Simmons' his tongue. Kiss was absolutely huge in the 70s. They were pretty much the biggest band on the planet at one point, and bassist Gene Simmons was and is famous for a lot of things, one of which is his exceptionally long tongue. A tongue which he often sticks out on stage and has been known to use excessively off of it. I read his autobiography when I was 13. I learned a lot. Anyway, back in the height of Kiss's fame, rumor about the origins of the demon's massive tongue started spreading around, and the consensus was that it was actually from a cow. The story was that he'd somehow grafted it onto his real tongue this is of course not the case. I don't think that technology exists to perform an operation like that, especially back then, but as soon as it does, I will look into doing it myself. Next on the list we have the Owl Man. The tale of the Owl Man began with 2 reported sightings in Cornwall in 1976. The first was reported by 2 young girls who claimed to see a large winged humanoid owl creature sitting atop the bell tower of a church in the small town of Maunan, which they had been visiting with their parents. They ran back to their parents to tell them what they'd seen, and they were so visibly distraught that their father decided to cut the trip short. Just a couple months later, 2 teenage girls were camping overnight in the woods right by that very same church. One of the girls, Sally Chapman, was standing outside the tent when she heard a loud hissing sound. She turned around and, to her complete shock and horror, saw what looked to be a man-sized owl creature with glowing red eyes. It then flew up into the air. More sightings of the mysterious creature started being reported within the following days, all within the vicinity of that church. At number 5, we have another urban legend that originated in the 70s, which is also related to spiders. This is one many of you probably have heard of, the spider bite legend. There are many different versions of this story, but the main gist of it is that a woman goes on vacation to some tropical destination and gets bitten by a rare species of spider, usually on her cheek. The bite starts to swell up until she basically has a balloon on her face. At which point pops and out comes hundreds of baby spiders that had been laid inside her cheek. Luckily, this does not happen in real life. Spiders don't find the human body a good place to store their eggs, but it's understandable why this tale became so famous. It's a horrifying idea. It's an early example of body horror, the idea that there's some foreign thing growing inside your body that you just don't want there. Plus, spiders. So many people are petrified of spiders. Next up, we have the legend of the clown doll. This one is kind of a different version of the famous babysitter and the man upstairs urban legend. In this story, a babysitter is watching over kids in a very large family home with a bunch of different rooms. Before the parents leave for the night, the father tells the young babysitter to go to a specific room to watch TV once the kids go to bed, as he doesn't want her roaming the house too much. This is a bit strange, but it comes into play later. So the evening goes by as normal, and eventually the kids do go to bed, and after they've been tucked in, the babysitter makes her way to the living room to spend the remainder of her night. As soon as she walks into the room to turn on the TV, though, she immediately spots a hideous, life-size clown doll, in some versions a statue, propped up in the corner. She can't stand the sight of the thing, but decides to try and ignore it and turn her attention to the television. But it's just there, staring at her from the corner of her eye. At one point, the parents call to check in, and she asks them if she can cover the clown statue with a sheet, to which the parents reply, "What clown statue?" Then, to the babysitter's horror, the clown starts to move towards her, attacking her, and in some versions, ending her life. In other versions, the police arrive, and it's revealed that the man is an escapee from a mental institution who was living in the family home for weeks, avoiding detection due to how big the house is, with so many places to hide. At number 3, we have Bunny Man. This is an urban legend featuring a crazed, axe-wielding man in a bunny costume. The legend originated in Fairfax County, Virginia in 1970, but the interesting thing about this one is that it all started from 2 very real documented incidents. The first happened on October 19th, 1970. A couple had been driving back from a football game and decided to visit a relative on their way. So they parked their car. Before they got out, they noticed something moving in the rear window. And almost as soon as they noticed this, a hatchet flew through the front passenger window. And a man in a white bunny costume started yelling at them, saying they were trespassing. Luckily, no one was harmed, and the second incident took place on October 29th. A construction security guard named Paul Phillips approached a young man standing on the porch of an unfinished home. He was wearing a bunny costume and was brandishing an axe. As the guard got closer, the man in the bunny costume said, "You are trespassing. If you come any closer, I'll chop off your head." From that point on, more and more reports started coming in about who the media now dubbed Bunny Man. As to the validity of a lot of these other sightings, it's kind of up in the air, especially when the story started becoming more embellished. Bunny Man is now well within the urban legend category, with tales of him possessing powers or having come back from the dead. Next on the list is the Dover Demon. In the town of Dover in Massachusetts, a series of cryptid sightings occurred on April 21st and 22nd in 1977. The first was reported by 3 teenage boys who had been driving along a road at night when their headlights illuminated an odd-looking creature. It was about 3 to 4 feet tall, crawling along a stone wall, and they described it as having a large bulbous head and bright orange eyes. It had long, spindly arms and legs and was completely hairless, with rough skin like sandpaper. Just an hour after this initial sighting, 2 other teenage boys spotted the odd creature as they were walking home. Their description of the creature was exactly the same, only now it wasn't climbing a concrete wall, it was just walking on 2 legs, and apparently ran into a gully where it stood next to a tree. The third sighting happened the following day. A teenage girl and boy were in their car when they spotted the creature on the side of the road. All these witnesses drew pictures of the creature for police. I found 2 of the original sketches online, and seeing as these are from like 2 separate reports, 2 different groups of kids, pretty crazy just how similar they are. Seems like they did see something similar to what they drew. And finally, at number 1, we have Cropsy. Cropsy was a boogeyman type urban legend that originated in New York in the 1970s. He was said to be a satanic man, sometimes sporting a hook for a hand, that lived in the abandoned Willowbrook mental institution and would come out in the dead of night to kidnap young victims who were never seen or heard from again. Stories of this nightmarish figure continued into the 80s. As it turns out, though, these stories of young ones going missing were connected to a real-life boogeyman, a man named Andre Rand. Rand had been in and out of prison for a series of disgusting crimes, but it turned out he had a long list of victims who he had kidnapped, many of which were never found. In 1988, he was finally convicted and would have been eligible for parole for some reason in 2008, but was brought to trial once again as new evidence was discovered in a kidnapping he had committed 23 years prior. He was convicted of that crime as well and remains in prison till this very day. With all that said, I've been your host, James, and I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.
Let's go with the Crypt TV video first, huh?
Daddy!
Yes, Roman?
I can't sleep. I don't like my new room.
You'll get used to it, I promise. Just get back to bed. You have school in the morning.
Dad, can I sleep with you and Mom tonight?
You're gonna have to be brave for me, buddy. That's the only way you're gonna get used to this new house. Just give it a few nights, okay?
Daddy,
I have no control over
It's
inside
probably
it, I'm
still
sorry.
packed up. I promise I'll look for it in the morning, okay? Stay in bed and get back to sleep. Roman. Damn it. Roman, what did I tell you about getting that?
I want to sleep in your bed tonight.
Oh no.
Oh, Sarah? Honey?
Hi, Daddy.
What the shit is that?
Hey, Roman. Wake up. You want to
sleep in our bed tonight?
Oh no. Oh no.
Man, this thing kind of itches.
Ah!
Get this thing off, man. Get this thing off me.
Ah. Uh-oh. So that was kind of like, Goosebumps, but scarier. Scary Goosebumps. FNAF lore can be like, yeah, it can. Actually, I'm surprised at how in depth FNAF lore can get, has gotten.
Ironically, one of the most horrifying true urban legends is perhaps one of the least known, at least in the US anyway. Because up in Toronto, Canada, almost everyone has heard the story of the leaping lawyer.
7 scary
According to
urban
the
legends
story,
based on
one
true
well-to-do
story.
lawyer was overly keen on showing off all the features of his extravagant
The other
office
was
space.
a Joji ad.
Set into a huge glass
shouldn't
skyscraper,
have
the
something
firm who
else,
made the
like a new
huge
add-on.
plate glass windows of the office boast that their windows were unbreakable, and that it would take a shot from an artillery gun to successfully shatter them. Apparently,
that's an
this
impressive
well-to-do
window.
lawyer was a fan of proving them right, and had a rather terrifying office party trick that he often used to wow his guests. Right when the party was in full swing, he would take a running jump at the plate glass windows after announcing, "Goodbye, cruel world."
Oh.
Those in attendance would scream in horror as the lawyer leapt towards the window, only to be met with his hysterical laughter when he harmlessly bounced off the toughened, polished glass.
Ooh.
Over and over, the lawyer repeated his death-defying stunt, until one day, the unthinkable happened, and the unbreakable broke.
Uh-oh.
The lawyer reeled up, ran at the glass, thrilled by the accompanying screams of the uninitiated. But as his large, speeding body came in contact with the glass, it shattered. Instead of turning around to laugh at those who had fallen for the prank, the lawyer was only met with the sound of his own screams as he plummeted 20 stories down to his death. It's an urban legend that has everything.
Oh dear God.
The impossible is possible. The arrogant are punished. And it's about as theatrical as urban legends get. Yet perhaps the real horror only comes when we learn that the entire story is completely and utterly true.
Yeah.
After completing an engineering degree before attending law school, Gary Hoy took a job practicing corporate and securities law in the eastern Canadian city of Toronto.
I did
He
hear
worked
about
for a
this
firm
one.
known as Holden Day Wilson,
Architecture school.
a law firm located on the 24th floor of the Toronto Dominion Centre. Then, on July 9th, 1993, Hoy happened to notice someone giving a tour of the office to a group of articling students from a nearby university. Like he had done many times before, he attempted to demonstrate the strength of the structure's window glass by slamming himself into a window. So, in order to give the students a good fright, Hoy took his usual run-up and slammed into the plate glass. This is where the urban legend differs from the true story, as it turns out the glass was indeed unbreakable and remained unshattered even on the day of Hoy's death. Instead, some rusty old screws, tired of Hoy's continual abuses, simply dislodged and allowed the window pane to slip out of place.
Ooh.
Right there, in front of the completely unsuspecting students, Gary Hoy screamed as he slipped through the gap in the floor and the window, plummeting 24 stories to his death.
Thank you, Automat.
The building's structural engineer, Bob Greer, was contacted by the Toronto Star for comment. When he learned of Hoy's folly, he was quoted as saying, "I don't know of a single building code in the entire world that would allow a 160-pound man to run up against a window like that. He must have been out of his freaking mind." In another interview, the glass company who made the panes was quick to state that the windows didn't actually break. "We just want to make that clear. It popped out of its frame. That's what caused Mr. Hoy to fall. Shoddy workmanship, not our product." Holden Day Wilson never recovered from Hoy's death, and it was definitely one of the factors that contributed to the firm's eventual closure less than 3 years later.
Oh no.
At the time, it was the largest law firm closure in Canadian history, but national newspapers seemed to forget that Hoy's death even occurred. The firm's closure was blamed on mismanagement and financial discrepancies, and the fact that Gary's ghost had haunted all those that had witnessed his death was totally ignored.
Oh no.
Maybe that's because the story became so frequently mentioned in fictional media, referenced so heavily on TV and in film, that people just assured it was the fabrication of some overly imaginative writer. And we can understand why. The tale is truly a horrifying one, something we'd rather tell ourselves didn't happen, rather than facing the bone-chilling truth that a man really did end up taking his own life, all because of a dumb prank. Many of us will be familiar with the Bloody Mary urban legend.
Yep.
The idea that if you look into a mirror and say her name a certain number of times,
I really like the
a
Bloody
malevolent
Mary
phantom known as
supernatural
Bloody
episode.
Mary will materialize to murder you. Some might say that the movie series The
May
Candyman
have been
borrowed
scary,
the
but I
concept,
don't think my heart
having the protagonist
did not
stare
make
into
my
a
heart
mirror
race
while repeating the titular character's
much as
name as a
Gran-
means to summon him.
Fair enough.
It's certainly a terrifying trope, the idea of staring into a mirror, only for someone or something to suddenly appear behind you. It's enough to make even the bravest of us shiver. But no one's ever just appeared out of someone's mirror to murder them, right? Those of you who wish to remain in blissful ignorance, I implore you, stop listening right now.
My
But
heart
for the
would
rest
not
of you
stop racing
who don't
after I left
mind
the
being a
theater
little
and got
paranoid
home.
for the next
Really?
couple of days,
Oh wow.
let me introduce you to the story of Ruthie Mae McCoy. At around 8:45 on April 22nd of 1987, Ruthie Mae McCoy made a 911 call from her 11th floor Abbott apartment on West 13th Street, Chicago. After the police dispatcher asked Ruthie what manner of assistance she required, he found her response to be incredibly perplexing. In effect, Ruthie told them that someone was trying to get into her home via the bathroom cabinet.
Oh yeah, I heard about this
He
one.
asked, "From where?" "They want to come through my bathroom," Ruthie replied. "I'm on the other side. They're trying to reach in through my bathroom cabinet." The dispatcher had already established that Ruthie was on the 11th floor of a 13th Street high-rise. There was no way anyone was climbing through her bathroom window, and absolutely no way of them using her bathroom cabinet as some kind of doorway. The dispatcher was most certainly concerned for Ruthie's safety, but it seemed to them that the biggest threat to her well-being was herself. She sounded frightened, that much was certain, but if she truly believed that people were trying to break into her apartment through her bathroom cabinet, she must have been having some kind of mental breakdown. The dispatcher told Ruthie that the cops were on their way, but he logged the call as a disturbance with a neighbor as opposed to an assault in progress. It wasn't a high priority call, but the cops would get there eventually to check up on her. When the cops finally arrived at Ruthie's apartment, they knocked on the door but received no reply. After their knocks went unanswered, the police attempted to enter the apartment using a key given to them by an attendant in the housing office, but left when the key failed to unlock the door. The next evening, Chicago PD received a call from one of Ruthie's neighbors who was worried about her whereabouts, considering she had seen police at her door the night before and still had not seen Ruthie. Chicago police and Chicago Housing Authority security guards arrived back at McCoy's apartment shortly afterward, and after the knocks and calls for McCoy went unanswered, officers suggested breaking the door down, but unbelievably were prevented from doing so by the CHA security guards, who told them they'd sue the city for damages if they got fired from their jobs.
Oh.
The following evening, pressures from the cops forced the Chicago Housing Authority to act, and they sent over a representative with a carpenter, who drilled the lock on the door. It was then that they made a horrifying discovery: the dead, decaying body of Ruthie Mae McCoy. Homicide detectives discovered that she had been shot in her left shoulder, left thigh, the right side of her abdomen, and right upper arm. It also became obvious that whoever had shot Ruthie Mae was known to her and was able to gain access to her apartment without breaking and entering. Yet they discovered that Ruthie had locked her door from the inside and the key was still on its hook near the threshold. So how had they gotten in and out of the apartment? Detectives reviewed the 911 call Ruthie made on the night of her death. When she mentioned her killers trying to get in through the bathroom cabinet, a deep chill fell over the two men. It was impossible, like something out of a horror movie. But there had to be a rational explanation for what Ruthie was saying, as she was obviously not imagining anyone in her mirror. Detectives returned to the scene of the crime, intent on fully analyzing this bathroom cabinet that Ruth had mentioned. To the naked eye, it appeared to be a regular bathroom cabinet. Mirrored door, sterile white insides dotted with cosmetics and medicines. There were no secret doors inside of it, and there were certainly no supernatural portals to hellish otherworldly realms. In a show of mild frustration, one of the detectives either shook or struck the cabinet, only for each of them to notice something curious about it. It visibly shifted. We can imagine the moment. One detective silently looking at the other with surprise, before returning to shift the cabinet again. Before long, they discovered they could do more than just shift the thing. They could remove it entirely, revealing a gaping hole in the wall. As it turned out, the ABLA projects, which Ruthie called home, had a rather unusual architectural quirk built into it.
They did?
And that certain apartments connected to one another via a narrow tunnel that ran behind the bathroom cabinets of opposite apartments. This design was intended to provide easy access to plumbing fixtures if maintenance was ever needed, and in some cases, apartments above and below each other were also connected by similar means. Granted, this made tradesmen's lives much easier, but also provided easier access for burglars and also nefarious types, as the bathroom medicine cabinets were easily removable from each end. A person could simply remove the cabinet from the wall of the apartment they were in, crawl through the narrow passage known as a pipe chase, and push in the cabinet of the unit they were trying to access.
Which is why if I ever live in that kind of building, I'm gonna try shaking the bathroom cabinet, just in case.
Murder, to the extent where residents would put furniture in front of their bathroom doors or tie them with rope before going to bed. It was obviously a huge problem, but one that was completely overlooked in the construction of the housing projects. Until the Chicago Housing Authority could find the money to fix it, residents were told to simply make do. Ruthie's apartment, number 1109, happened to be connected to number 1108, and this is obviously where her killers emerged from. Number 1108 was indeed being rented at the time, and it's believed that the tenant on record was actually a drug dealer who allowed his customers to use the apartment as a drug den.
Oh no.
These shady drug-using types must have either entered or heard about the flaw in the architecture and decided to use it to their advantage. Two ALBA residents, Ted Turner, then aged 18, and 21-year-old named John Honduras, were charged with murder, home invasion, armed robbery, armed violence, and residential burglary. A number of witnesses claim they saw the two men carrying McCoy's 19-inch color TV and rocking chair around the projects in the hours following Ruthie's murder. After years of arrests and continual investigation, the charges against the two men were dropped due to lack of investigation, and the Ruthie's killers were never officially charged or imprisoned.
Oh,
Even without the supernatural element,
that is bold.
the idea of someone being able to violently break into your apartment via what amounts to a secret passage is absolutely terrifying.
It's bullshit,
Very few of
alright.
us ever seen the blueprints to the apartment buildings or houses that we live in, and even fewer are actually interested in doing so.
I am
And so
the
how do you
type that
know
is
for certain
interested
that there isn't some
because
kind of
I
secret
studied
entrance to your apartment?
architecture.
And if there is, How do you know there isn't someone sneaking along it right this instant, ready to jump out on some poor unsuspecting scary story fan to give them
That
their
would be the
own
rat
personal
traps that I set in there
horror
every
story.
day. So if I hear something, it will probably be followed by a scream in the walls. But I don't live in that kind of place.
Perhaps you've heard of the urban legend sometimes known as the dead body under the bed. The legend tells of a vacationing couple that checks into a seedy roadside motel only to discover a foul smell in their room.
Uh-oh.
Come night, they find the smell to be so odorous that they're unable to sleep and decide to call a member of staff to complain. The staff member then discovers that the smell is in fact coming from the bed.
Set.
Looks under the frame to find the couple
you would
had
set
been sleeping on top of
explosives.
the rotting body of a young girl that had been stuffed into the box.
That's a good question.
It's definitely one of the
Wait,
lesser
let me
known
pause this
urban
for a
legend.
second. That's a good question though. Like if you put a claymore in position in one of those secret passageways so that if someone went in there they'd step on it and blow themselves up with a direction a direction aimed explosive, would you get in trouble for murder because they were trying to break in through a secret passageway? Or would it count as standing your own ground in self-defense of your home? That is a good question. There would be no evidence that I placed them down. Except for maybe the trigger mechanism. Because trigger mechanisms have a tendency to survive that kind of thing. I mean, unless you've made your own napalm. But then that would take you out with it. So, is it really worth laying them down? Or at least with a claymore, it's a direction. You place it, when you place it, you give it the direction that it's got, face it in the right direction for it to be triggered and only get the person that steps on it, like a landmine type thing. But in the walls. That way your place doesn't get fucked up. Well, at most, maybe the force might break your bathroom mirror. But anyone that tried to get through that small secret passageway would be fucked. Either that or you choose one of those booby traps like from horror movies where it's like bathroom mirror proceeds to fly off the wall. Well, then you know what's happened and you need to clean up the mess. Or maybe it could be like this situation where but the question is, would you get in trouble for the corpse in your wall when they were the ones that broke in the first place? You could also argue that because these buildings are old buildings, you could also argue that the claymore or landmines were there ahead of time. So it wasn't you, but someone who lived there before. It's an interesting thought. I think, could definitely make some things pretty cursed all up, wouldn't it? But if you had a claymore go off and you didn't call the cops and you didn't clean up the splatters properly, it could stink pretty bad. Oh yeah. Reminder to everyone to take advantage of September to help get me to 80 subbies to make me have to make a video of me crushing a watermelon with my thighs. Yeah. After all, watermelons are in season. Oh, it's the beginning of watermelon season. And it's also warm enough that I may not freeze my butt off by doing it. Which is also important. But the claymore and the walls thing is kind of cool. Although, it would also be kind of nifty to have it as like a panic room secret escape from your apartment in case something goes wrong. Someone breaks in the normal way. Oh, quick, better go to the bathroom. Lock the door. Behind the mirror. Whoop, out you go. Though you'd have to hope that you're at least friends with the person on the other side. I've always wanted a home with a secret passageway, which is one thing that during hypothetical home designs that I've done just to keep my architecture skills sharp. I have a tendency to include secret passageways in the house design. Or like have secret cupboards and pantries. Like the last one I did, there was a secret bathroom in the master bedroom. Like the ensuite was the secret passageway. And I also had a secret pantry that it didn't look like a pantry unless you like did the little thing to make it open up, and it's just like, damn, that's one hell of a pantry. I just think they're so cool. I know I'm full on explaining how much of a nerd I am, but I fucking love it. I really do. But then what else do you expect when a kid grows up with the Addams Family movies from the 90s and stuff? I still love those movies. I also kind of always pictured a secret passageway in between the kids' rooms in the old E.T. movie as well. Like the wardrobes connected. And that it was a secret passageway. But yeah, any chance I get, when I own a home, you have better put money down on me sneaking in at least a secret cupboard, if not a secret passageway. Your bathroom is connected to your younger brother's room? Wait, you have your own bathroom? That's nuts. I can see something like that coming in handy, like when the kids are little. Although it would give the whole "there's a closet monster" argument a lot more credo. It's not the closet monster, it's just your brother. Yeah, it's in between my room and my younger brother's room. Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of cool. Oh my god, how cool is this? I just realized I have 699 followers. That's fucking awesome. But anyway, back to the spooky stories. Oh, the way I said that then reminded me of a show that I saw on public TV when I was a kid. It was like something like Spooky Stories for Silly Kids or Silly Stories for Spooky Kids or something along those lines. Gonna have to look into that.
But it's one made all the more terrifying by the fact that it's actually a true story. Not only that, but there have been multiple occurrences of people sleeping in rooms where dead bodies have been concealed. And two of those unfortunate souls were James and Rhonda Sargent. The couple had been on the road for hours before they checked into room 222 of the Budget Lodge Inn on Brooks Road in Memphis, Tennessee.
Oh, do you mean never mind, it's 14?
That evening, the couple said they complained to the motel staff that the room was stanky and foul. They burned some incense they picked up from a nearby hippie hole, but it seemed like nothing could cover the revolting odor.
It's a stanky room.
Though it seemed that someone had apparently tried before, because the sergeants noticed there were fabric softener sheets stuffed into ceiling tiles and nooks, and the smell was strongest whenever anyone sat on the bed.
This reminds me of one of the American Horror Story hotel stories.
And in the morning, the couple left the motel, determined to never darken its doors again.
I've been putting a lot of work into my
later,
YouTube channel of late, making sure I come out with shorts on the regular and
motel
stuff.
owners finally decided to call the police. More than one guest had commented that it smells like a dead body in there, in room 222, and they weren't wrong. Homicide detectives instantly recognized the smell as belonging to a corpse, and after turning the room upside down, located the moldering cadaver of 28-year-old mother of 4, Sony Millbrook.
Oh no.
Throughout the course of the police investigation that followed, it was discovered that Sony had checked into the Budget Inn sometime in January of 2010. She was staying with her boyfriend and father of 4 of her children, Lakeith Moody, and the room was in his name. Millbrook had been there for a couple of weeks when one day in late January, she did not pick up her kids from daycare.
Uh-oh.
Her sister, Linda James, reported her missing. Police believe she died the day she vanished, but were told by motel workers that they had bagged up Millbrook's personal belongings and cleaned the room. The workers said nothing appeared amiss and the room was rented out. If Sony had indeed been a victim of foul play, it certainly hadn't been the Budget Inn, or at least so it seemed. After Sony's body was found, Lakeith Moody was stopped while driving Millbrook's car and was arrested on federal charges of being a felon in possession of a gun. It took until his trial in 2014 for him to be convicted of murdering the mother of his child, and he was automatically given a life sentence in accordance with state law. I'm just a shock because I'm like, okay, I done laid on top of this lady's body, said Rhonda Sargent, who stayed in the room after Millbrook disappeared, before her body was found.
How could you not check under the bed?
Someone's mom. Why didn't they investigate this fully? I think I would have searched all over, her husband James added. I think I would have known to look up under the bed. Yet he didn't, and neither did the police.
What?
It was already clear.
But whenever I go somewhere, I always check under
Police
the
Director
bed.
Larry Godwin said in March
See if Mr. Bumpy's
that it
there.
also been rented several times with next to no complaints. It was like,
Mr.
well,
Bumpy's the
we don't
boogeyman.
have any evidence here. The officers wanted to solve it, and so they went in a different direction. Whether or not there was misfortune, or simply incompetence on the part of investigating police, it's impossible to judge. But what things remain clear, that an alarming number of people have actually slept on beds under which a body had been concealed.
Oh.
So next time you're on the road, and you stop to spend the night at a
Always
roadside
throw a
rest stop,
flashbang under the bed.
make sure there's nothing
No.
masking any particular nasty smells.
Always at
And
least
as always,
look with a knife.
Always check under the bed, as apparently you know really well when you'll be sleeping with an unexpected roommate.
I always check under the bed with a knife. Because I watch too many horror
You
movies.
just sat down on the old porcelain throne, and you're settling in to relieve yourself.
Oh,
A kind of serenity
toilet
comes
story.
over you. It's a time of privacy, of solace and seclusion. The more uncouth among us might even describe the feeling of voiding their bowels as blissful. And as disgustingly satisfying as a good dump might be, sitting on the toilet with our pants around our ankles
It's
is
one of
without
the
a
most
doubt one of the most
vulnerable times
positions
in your
which a person
life.
could possibly find themselves. And for some, that vulnerability might have become frighteningly apparent to
No
us at
scratching
some
at the
point.
door.
It seems impossible, sure, but what if something could swim up the sewage pipes, slowly snaking or scuttling through the filthy toilet water,
You go back
only
there
to
and you
surface
lose
right
room
when we're at our
privileges.
most exposed. Perhaps a
She
rat,
lost room privileges
wiggling
already.
its fleshy pink tail, surfacing with a squeak and then launching itself teeth first at our backsides,
Wait, what's this
Or
about the
snake.
backside? I need to
winding its way
backtrack.
up the pipes before sinking its fangs into you-know-what. Maybe even an alligator, floating in the toilet, just waiting for us to come along and lift the lid so it can rip off an appendage or two.
I gotta
Most
start
of
this
us have
story
similar
over.
kind of irrational
I don't know
thought
this
process
one.
Sitting on the toilet.
You've always got a
But
gun when
rats,
you're
snakes,
shitting.
or gators can't really swim up our bathroom pipes, right? I mean,
I was talking too much. I missed the beginning of this one, so I had to backtrack.
you just sat down on the old porcelain throne, and you're settling in to relieve yourself, a kind of serenity comes over you. It's a time of privacy, of solace and seclusion.
Can never be too
The
careful.
more uncouth among us might even
Well,
describe
especially during a
feeling of
zompocalypse,
avoiding their
but yeah.
bowels as blissful. And as disgustingly satisfying as a good dump might be, sitting on the toilet with our pants around our ankles is without a doubt one of the most vulnerable positions in which a person could possibly find
I
themselves.
was at my sister's house.
And for some,
Her dog kept
that
coming into the
vulnerability might
bathroom
have
when I
become
was trying to go.
frighteningly apparent to us at some point.
And it looked like it was going to go me.
It seems impossible,
most
sure.
vulnerable.
But what if something could swim up the sewage pipes,
I didn't let
slowly
that
snaking or
happen.
scuttling
They said
through
even
the
though it wasn't
filthy
going to do
toilet
anything,
water,
but I didn't trust it.
only to surface right when we're at our most exposed. Perhaps a rat, wiggling its fleshly pink tail, surfacing with a squeak and then launching itself teeth first at our backsides,
No,
Or snake.
no.
winding its way up the pipes
But I know
before
rats
sinking
can
its
do
fangs
this.
into you-know-what. Maybe even an alligator, floating in the toilet,
How?
is waiting for us to come along.
How
and
could it
lift
get through
lid
the pipes of
so
the
it can rip
toilet?
off an appendage or two. Most of us had a similar kind of irrational thought whilst sitting on the toilet. But rats, snakes, or gators can't really swim up our bathroom pipes, right?
Rats and snakes can.
That's got to be just an urban legend. Well, I hate to break it to you, friends, but it's true. And rats have been crawling up sewer pipes and into people's toilets with horrifying frequency, and just for about as long as sewage systems have existed.
But I don't
Magnolia
see
is
a
the second largest
crocodile
neighborhood
or
of Seattle,
alligator able to do it.
occupying a hilly peninsula northwest of the downtown area. It was named by Captain George Davidson of the U.S. Coast Survey in 1856, who reportedly mistook the plentiful madrona trees for magnolias, and given the early date of its founding, some sections of Magnolia have
I don't see
a very
it.
archaic sewer system.
But thankfully I don't have an
Although
undercarriage
made of
going
much
into the
heavier
bowl.
metals, some might argue that the older sewage pipes are just as strong as the modern polymer variety. The only problem is that they're quite a bit different. And being larger has its drawbacks, as one unfortunate resident discovered to their abject horror. One evening, they obviously approached their toilet intending on relieving themselves before bed. But when they lifted the lid, the sight that greeted them made their blood run cold. Staring back at them, with cold, beady eyes and gnashing yellow teeth, was a huge, soaking wet sewer rat. The scream it must have elicited from the unsuspecting homeowner must have been enough to wake the dead, as the squealing beast leapt from the toilet bowl in an attempt to escape it. The rat seemed to couple its escape with a lunging attack, and was successful in making the homeowner back off enough for it to be able to make a clean break for the bathroom. The homeowner was left stunned and horrified, weeping on the bathroom floor in the aftermath of such a terrible surprise.
Yeah, I'd be weeping too.
I now
Fuck,
feel
you're
utterly
dead.
unsafe in my own home, the homeowner said, in a letter to the King County Public Health Department. Local media outlets reached out to a man named Don Pace, a rodent control specialist for King County's Public Health Department. It's a life-changing experience if it happens to you, he said, admitting that the incidents are much more common than we're led to believe. It does freak you out, because you're expecting it. In King County alone, there have been over 400 reported incidents of sewer rats simply materializing in people's toilets over the past 10 years or so, with Pace saying that his department deals with between 50 to 80 toilet rat scenarios a year. Notorious as spreaders of the infamous Black Death,
I first
rats are one
heard
of the most
about
reviled and
rats in
ubiquitous
toilets
urban wildlife
because of
nuisances.
Mythbusters.
And it certainly doesn't do the
But
reputation any good when they
damn!
invade the privacy of people's bathrooms. Pace has been helping people vanquish toilet rats for more than 20 years in King County, and the occurrences of toilet rats are now so regular in certain parts of the northwestern United States that Don has set up a webpage to help people deal with the problem.
Oh dear
We
God.
try to tell people not to panic. All you have to do is close the lid and flush. The rat will try to swim back down or get tired and drown, Pace said. It might take more than one flesh to exile the furry intruders. Typically, Norway rats are about 6 to 8 inches long, 12 inches if you include their tails.
What
So,
the
they
shit?
don't go down easy, let me
No!
tell you. Sometimes I feel like a superhero because everyone's so happy when they see me, he said. Usually, he continued, the story goes something like this. A person hears a splashing noise at 1:30 a.m. in the toilet. They look in to see a rat doing
It's a
laps.
good reason
Yet,
to keep the
within
toilet
5
lid
minutes, it
down, that's for
disappeared.
damn sure.
There's water everywhere and there's no sign of any obvious entry. It seems impossible, but it happens a lot, and there's very little we can do about it.
I
other
mean,
than
they
deal
have
with the
lids for a
incidents
reason.
as
They
and
keep
when
the
they
smells
arise.
in. And obviously rats.
Some of the public complaints to the King County Public Health Department are available to read online.
If I lived in King
One
County,
stated that I had the
I'd sleep
unfortunate
with a
duty
brick
report that I
on the
found a
toilet
rat in my
lid.
toilet bowl this evening, on July 1st, 2013. It is quite alive and unhappy to be where it is. I'll try using dish soap and flushing. If that doesn't work, I guess I'll look for heavy leather gloves and see if I can remove it that way. Wife heard scrabbling noises in toilet. Another complaint read. Lifted lid and saw rat. She screamed. Flushed 3 times and rat disappeared. Then squirted dish soap down toilet and flushed twice more. Then poured bleach down kitchen sink, followed by boiling water. Don Paces said he approves of the dish soap method mentioned above. The soap breaks the surface tension in the toilet bowl and makes it difficult for the rat to swim. But the measures don't stop there. If someone reports a toilet rat to the county, Pace will typically drop poison bait into a nearby manhole cover to address any other rats who might be considering invasion. It's probably best to avoid drawing rats in the first place, Don was quoted as saying. Rats are typically chasing food poured down the drain, but detour to porcelain because they can't access the sink. They come up where they find easiest access, the toilet bowl. Every
How about
house has a
bleach and
kitchen
ammonia?
sink, so every house has an entry point for rats. It happens throughout Seattle, from the far south end all the way up to the north end. Don recommends cleaning your drains regularly, preferably using a cup of baking soda, a cup of vinegar, along with a healthy dose of boiling water.
And
It's
whatever you
particularly
do, do
important to
not
do this in
use
the
a
summer and
garbage
fall, since
disposal.
this is naturally when the
It
rats
attracts
will be
rats.
most active. But that being said, incidents are still rare overall, and the more modern your drains are, the less likely occurrences of toilet rats actually are. So rest assured, people, the chances of actually finding a rat sitting in a toilet bowl are relatively low.
It's a damn good
But I'm
reason
sorry
to keep
say,
a clean
It
toilet.
does occur. So maybe it's best we all start leaving our toilet lids down to keep the sewer rats out. But if you do, remember that every single time you lift the lid, you're rolling the dice on being ambushed by a huge, angry vermin.
But it's better than it coming into you and you're finding it sitting on your chest in the middle of the night.
As we all know, sewers are dark, dangerous, and scary places. The fictional home of supervillains, evil clowns, and post-pubescent reptiles trained in nujitsu. There's obviously a lot of nasty, gross, and hazardous stuff down there.
It's ninja.
Rats, used tampons, toilet paper, sewage, you name it. If you flush it, it's down there. But what about the infamous colonies of alligators that are so prevalent among urban legends? It's certainly a claim that's been around for decades, and you've probably heard some version of a tale that kicked off the urban legend. Supposedly, a spoiled young boy gets a baby alligator, of all things, for his birthday and flushes it down the toilet when he's bored of playing with it. Years later, as the story goes, the same boy reaches into a sewer
mean
grate for a
Florida.
lost
Oh, no!
baseball, and his arm is ripped off by a former pet, now monstrous and ravenous for blood. Some versions go even further to suggest that after the alligator was disposed of at such a young age, it would live the majority of its life in an environment not exposed to sunlight, and thus it would apparently in time lose its eyesight and the pigment in its hide, and that the reptile would grow to be blind and completely albino, pure white in color with
I don't
red
think
or
it
pink
works
eyes.
that way.
Another reason why an albino alligator would retreat to an underground sewer is because of its vulnerability to the sun in the wild. As there is no dark pigment in the creature's skin,
That makes
it
more
has no
sense to
protection
me.
from the sun, which makes it very hard for it to survive in the wild. Some people even spoke of mutant alligators living in the sewers, which have been exposed to many different types of toxic chemical waste which altered them, making them deformed and sometimes even larger and with strange coloring.
Also, more
The story
likely
is widely
than
known and has appeared in many
a
forms, including TV shows
alligator
and horror
that was
films.
once on the outside becoming
Indeed,
albino.
queries
because it's
about
in
the
the dark.
sewer gator rumors regularly arrive at the offices of the New York
Albinism.
City Bureau
Albinism
of
doesn't work
Sewers and
that way.
are routinely denied. One source for the story is the 1959 book titled The World Beneath the City, which included an interview with the New Yorker claiming to have been sewer commissioner in the 1930s when a campaign was mounted to clean all the gators out of the sewer system. This seemed like solid evidence that even if alligators no longer lurk in the city's sewers, they did at one point, and were enough of a menace that the city initiated a program to eradicate them.
Ever caught a fish
However,
from a sewer? No.
Further investigation revealed that the man had never been commissioner,
Don't really have that kind of
and in
sewers
fact had
here.
delighted in spinning outrageous
in
yarns.
South Australia, we don't have that kind
Trumping
of
all
sewers,
myths, however,
thankfully.
is the fact that alligators wouldn't survive long in the sewers. In a
Ew.
1982 interview with the New York Times, Sewer Bureau spokesman John F. T. Flattery said, "I could cite you many cogent, logical reasons why the sewer system is not a fit habitat for an alligator, but suffice it to say, in the 28 years I have been in the sewer game, neither I nor any of the thousands of men who have worked to build, maintain, or repair the sewer system have ever seen one. And a 10-foot, 800-pound alligator would
Day
be
before
hard
a
to
flood.
miss.
Oh.
Still, New York City is a big place and known for its strangeness. Some people have exotic pets, and it's possible that there are one or more doomed, miserable baby alligators somewhere. But finding or putting an alligator in the New York City sewer does not mean that decades of stories about giant alligators in the sewers are true. Until, that is, you come across one particular account from 2010. An alligator? A crocodile? We were stumped. But it was definitely, well, quite a reptilian reptile, said New Yorker Joyce Hackett. As I
Reptilian
threaded my way
reptile?
back to my home in
As
Manhattan,
opposed
through the
to a
side
not
streets of
reptilian
Queens,
reptile?
I noticed a crowd of about 30 people gathered around the Old Navy Datsun. I rolled down my windows and asked the lady cop what was going on. Alligator, she said, as if the overriding issue here was that she should have already been on her break. I squatted down, and there it was on the wet asphalt, crouching motionless. Not an 8-inch baby alligator. This is more like 2 feet. But honestly, he seemed less like a menacing predator and more like an abandoned pet cowering under a car. Like many of us, Joyce was more than familiar with the whole alligator in the sewers trope, but never for a second did she believe it to be true. Yet when faced with overwhelming evidence to the contrary, even when she was forced to relent, storm drains and gutters all over the neighborhood were flooded from the downpour, Joyce mused. Maybe a wave had washed this creature onto the pavement of civilization, separating from its pack. When asked if she was actually shocked or scared by the gator
What?
sighting, Joyce could only
Gators
answer,
have packs?
kind of.
They
Because
come
New
in
York
packs?
is a city where one expects the unexpected.
Oh, dear
A city where
God.
alien creatures take root, and whose gutters, basements, archives, and streams serve up more stories than all its writers can think up. I mean, it's a city that writes itself. Each year, at least half a dozen people ask New York City's Bureau of Sewers about those infamous gators. John T. Flattery, chief of design, answers those queries routinely. I could cite you many cogent, logical reasons why the sewer system is not a fit habitat for an alligator, but suffice it to say, in the 28 years I have been in the sewer game, neither I nor any of the thousands of men who have worked to build, maintain, or repair the sewer system have ever seen one. Flattery, whose sense of humor is of the dried yet deadly variety, added the one clear proof of the absence of alligators. Not a single union official has ever advanced alligator infestation as a reason for a pay increase for sewer workers. Even though it's next to impossible to prove something didn't happen,
Let's go.
I would still suggest from the lack of credibility sightings, it's safe to assume that there are no alligators down there, he said. Yet despite what flattery says, from the years 1927 and 1982, there have been 13 separate reports from people having sighted alligators in and around NYC's sewer system. The 2-foot baby alligator was caught in 2010 by the NYPD in the sewers in Queens, and it was most definitely from the sewers. But it's unlikely it was down there for long, as John Flattery is totally correct in his opinion that gators simply couldn't survive down there for any extended period of time due to the frigid winter weather. However, once the cold isn't a problem anymore, alligators actually flourish in certain sewer systems and have been sighted in the drains and sewers of Florida as recently as 2017, due to many of those waste outlets backing out into the swamps.
Well, I am
During storm
so thankful
surges
right
and
now
the
I don't
colder
live in
winter months,
America.
Florida alligators sometimes shelter in convenient drains and hunt for rats to supplement their diet. So despite all the naysayers insisting it's impossible, there is irrefutable evidence that alligators can live in American sewer systems. And although it's clear that they can't live down there for long, the Queens sewer gator sighting is undeniably true. So maybe be a little careful next time you're around a storm drain during heavy rain.
Yeah.
Because it's not just Pennywise that'll grab you by the arm before tearing it off. And you just might find yourself being eaten alive by something you never thought possible.
Uh-oh. Yeah, you did. You fucking called it. And you got it right, too.
The man born as Frank Rushan would eventually go by Andre Rand during his adult life. But the name on his driver's license has become somewhat irrelevant, as his terrifying exploits would be attached to a deceptively playful nickname. Born in New York City on March 11th of 1944, Rand would spend most of his life around Staten Island, going on to be one of the most infamous criminals that the Northeast has ever known. And although Rand definitively wasn't the most prolific serial killer, it's more the nature of his crimes that made him so universally reviled. You see, Andre Rand's prey of choice was children.
Uh-oh.
Thankfully, Andre Rand is currently serving several consecutive 25 years to life sentences. But the convicted kidnapper and suspected child serial killer managed to wreak enough havoc and inflict enough pain in his time that his capture and imprisonment provides very little solace. Yet bizarrely, the man's morbidly fascinating tale began as a real-world campfire story.
You're kidding.
In days gone by, young people all over the borough of Staten Island would scare the living daylights out of each other with descriptions of the monstrous figure known only as Cropsy.
Yeah, I'm working on the book.
Supposedly a sort of boogeyman figure with a razor-sharp steel hook for a hand. Cropsy would apparently drag innocent children from their homes in the middle of the night before carrying them to an abandoned hospital. There, depending on who was telling the story, you would be tortured, killed,
I'm making
eaten,
dry
or any combination of the three. Although creepy campfire and urban legends are a standard, a thrilling part of most everyone's early childhood, for the children of Staten Island, these ominous little tales soon became disquietingly real. The line between fact and fiction began to blur as local children began to vanish in real life, but when their cold, dead bodies were found, it made it clear that this was no mere campfire tale. Could it be that Cropsy was real? During the 1960s,
I don't know who
Andre Rand was
Cropsy is.
employed as a custodian at the Willowbrook State School. Funded by state government, the Willowbrook was a charitable center that provided aid for children with disabilities. On the surface, all of the Willowbrook's practices were
Simon.
good and proper. But
Do you
upon
think I should
closer
make
inspection,
this little
state officials began to unravel a
into
web of
Halloween
questionable
emo?
conditions and unethical medical practices. On the advice of the inspectors, the Willowbrook was immediately closed and Andre Rand was forced to find alternative employment. Rand had a clean slate, He could have pursued just about any manner of unskilled labor, but instead, he chose to pursue an even more horrifying career. Between the date of the Willowbrook's closing in the early 1970s, several young girls went missing in the area surrounding the abandoned hospital. The first was a 5-year-old Alice Pyra. On July 10th, 1972, the happy-go-lucky toddler seemed to simply vanish into thin air while playing in the street just outside her house, a street located just a few miles southeast of the old Willowbrook Hospital. For a while, the whereabouts of the small child remained a complete mystery. Yet there was something else the local townsfolk were unaware of, that Andre Rand once went by Frank Rushan, and Frank Rushan had once served 10 months in prison for the abduction of several small children.
Oh no.
The fact he only did 10 months stems from the fact that his defense attorney managed to essentially haggle a judge down to a conviction of false imprisonment, a crime with a considerably lower penalty than kidnap or abduction. But the conviction was enough to smear Frank's name for good, and so he came up with a rather simple and cunning solution. He changed it, and after moving out to Staten Island, became Andre Rand. Yet as much as Rand could hide his identity from the townsfolk, he couldn't hide his identity from police officers who were well aware of his legal change of name. So when little Alice Pereira went missing on that warm July evening, the police considered Rand to be the prime suspect.
Understandable.
Despite their convictions, evidence was flimsy and not nearly enough to gain a solid conviction in a court of law. And so, as the cops chose to hold their horses, the bodies began to pile up. On July 15th, 1981, 7-year-old Holly Ann Hughes went missing. Her parents filed a missing persons report, while several witnesses claimed to have seen the girl with Rand shortly before her disappearance. Once again, no actual evidence led to no actual arrest.
Oh no.
2 years later, Rand once again became the prime suspect when 11-year-old Tyhees Jackson disappeared. Then in 1984, 21-year-old Hank Gaffario vanished. These unnerving incidents left the nearby townsfolk racked with terror, a terror that was exacerbated by the fact that not a single person was apprehended, with all at a loss for a potential motive. It was a whopping 3 years before local law enforcement finally caught a break in their investigation, when 12-year-old girl Jennifer Swagger was reported missing on July 9th of 1987. The search for her, or her body, lasted 35 days, and ended in the traumatic unearthing of her body in a wooded area on Staten Island.
Ooh.
According to the New York Times, Swagger was found dead in a shallow grave on the former property of the Willowbrook State School. By the time Jenny Swagger's body was found, police decided they had to act, and Andre Rand was arrested and charged as a suspect in the murder. Once again, prosecutors fell afoul of court procedure and found they were unable to convict Rand on the murder charge, with there only being enough evidence to irrefutably convict him of kidnapping. This was 1988. Prosecutors had Rand exactly where they wanted him, in a federal penitentiary, where he'd stew while they worked on convicting him of the other child murders. Although there wasn't enough evidence at the time, Rand was found guilty of Holly Ann Hughes' kidnapping in 2004, over 2 decades after she originally went missing. And since there is no statute of limitations for New York for first-degree kidnapping, prosecutors ensured that Rand wouldn't escape justice for his historic depravities. He was given an additional 25 years to life sentence on top of the one he was already serving. All in all, the Staten Island boogeyman sits behind bars to this day for the kidnappings of Holly Ann Hughes and Jennifer Swagger, and won't be eligible for parole until 2037, provided he lives that long. He'll be 93 years old on the day he walks free. Andre Rand's disturbing life and legacy were dissected in the 2019 documentary movie Cropsy. The film premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival that year and won the Grand Jury Prize for its enthralling narrative and slick production quality, and on watching it, it's easy to see why. The essential premise of the movie was to explore whether or the Staten Island urban legend of Cropsy was actually tied into Rand's murderous career, whether one had fed into the other until fact and fiction had become indistinguishable. Yet as the movie came to show, for some of the people who experienced those years on Staten Island, as well as those involved in searching for the missing kids, the term boogeyman didn't even broach Rand's despicable psychopathy. Donna Coutinho, president of the charity Friends of the Jennifer for Missing Children, calls Rand the Hannibal Lecter of Staten Island. Donna and her fellow volunteers have the unenviable task of searching all over Willowbrook's 385 acres twice a year in search of any undiscovered remains. He terrified a whole community, and he still haunts us, Donna was quoted as saying. For some kids, it's like if Corpsey was real. What else aren't they telling us, you know? And I don't know. Sometimes I feel a little of that too. At the end, Andre Rand was arrested, imprisoned, and may never see the light of day again.
One
But
would hope.
nevertheless, his impact on the Staten Island community is immeasurable, and Cropsey has left behind massive psychological trauma that may well last for generations. Some of those children are still missing. The remains are still out there, somewhere. And as the years go by, and their bones are pulled one by one from the cold earth, entombing them, the memories of Rand's reign of terror will come back flooding, over and over again. And maybe that's what makes the Cropsey story so well and truly terrifying. The core lesson in the story, the frightful foundation of its message, is that the boogeyman is real, and he wears the faces of men.
Chica!
Some said he was in a house fire, that the flames had mellowed his skin like an old candle. Others swore he was struck by lightning as a child, and that the bolt had forked directly into the poor boy's face. There were rumors that he looked the way he did because of some horrifying nuclear accident at the nearby Duquesne power plant.
Oh no.
Men swore he was real. Others said that it was all a lie, but back in the day, almost everyone in the greater Pittsburgh area had heard some variation of the Charlie No-Face urban legend. Some called
I don't know
him the
this
Green
one.
Man, others the Monster of Beaver County, but the details were essentially the same. Some older Pennsylvanians even claimed to have met Charlie No-Face when they were younger, saying it was by far the single most terrifying moment of their lives. They describe it like shaking hands with a Jersey Devil, or sharing a makeup mirror with a pouting Bloody Mary. You thought it was impossible, but there it is, clear as day, real as you and me. Because Charlie No-Face really was real, and the story is just about as terrifying and tragic as a person can imagine. On August 16th of 1919, an 8-year-old boy named Ray Robinson was taking a walk with his sister and a few other friends out near Newcastle, Pennsylvania. At some point, the children looked up to see a rather fetching bird's nest perched atop a nearby tree. Only this tree happened to be dangerously close to an abandoned railway bridge. It's thought the children were engaged in an activity known as egging, in which children would cruelly steal birds' eggs in order to preserve, paint, or display them. But what Ray didn't know was that just a year earlier another boy had tried to climb the exact same tree and had managed to touch one of the exposed wires that still had a current running through it.
Uh-oh.
The boy died a slow, painful death over the course of 2 weeks, and Ray was about to make exactly the same near-fatal mistake. A horrifying amount of electrical current ran through his young body, so much so that his eyes, lips, nose, and ears were all hideously malformed or burned away completely. One of his arms was frazzled and rendered useless by the subsequent fall, while one of his hands was blown clean off of his wrist by the force of the electrical current. He went through an ungodly amount of pain and suffering, but with the hard work of some top local doctors, little Ray Robinson miraculously survived. As you can imagine, Ray's life became extremely difficult after the accident, and not just because of his injuries. Many of the larger Victorian-era homes in rural Pennsylvania, including the one Ray grew up in, really can be something to behold. The extravagant architecture includes high ceilings, grand bay windows, and often the privacy of personal ensuite bathroom fixtures. In some cases, the level of domestic self-sufficiency meant that a person could remain in one isolated corner of a house for days, perhaps even weeks on end,
This is
as just as much as it could be used to provide a sense of comfortable solitude. Such features made for rather horrible gilded cages for people like Ray. And this is how his family kept his monstrous form hidden away from the terrified
It's
public.
gonna go in green.
By all accounts, Ray was kept isolated and shunned even by his own family. But he wasn't entirely mistreated during his upbringing. He was amply fed, and his love of baseball was indulged by parents that provided him with both baseball cards and a wireless radio with which he could listen to games. His parents also understood that he needed to keep busy, and also that they needed to teach him to function in society. They provided him with the means to learn Braille and even taught him how to fashion wallets and doormats out of used rubber tires. When he came of age, his family revealed a renovated apartment they'd made for him, set into the family garage.
Oh, that's nice.
It was much closer to them, both physically and emotionally, and it meant the world to a young man who'd been so terribly misunderstood for most of his young life. Only as he grew, a yearning to roam free burned in him. So in a small act of rebellion, Ray slipped out of the house in the dead of night and walked the highway near the family home.
Oh no.
It became something of a habit. He enjoyed the feeling of the tarmac underfoot, the feeling of the breeze on his skin. After a while, he went from walking the highways once or twice a week to almost every night, always alone and always at night. And this is where the real-life Ray Robinson became a walking, talking urban legend. Most nights, on the rare occasion that a car did come along, Ray was so frightened by the sound of the oncoming engine that he'd scamper off the road and hide among the foliage. But after a while, we found he was unafraid of the roaring vehicles. If he stuck to the side of the road, they didn't seem to bother him. So he made the decision to stop hiding. One day, Ray was walking along the highway when once again he heard the sound of an oncoming car. Yet unlike so many times before, when the vehicle had just rolled on by, having not caught him in its headlights, Ray heard the screech of tires on the road behind him.
Oh no.
A man cried out into the night, revving his engine in a way that sounded a lot like reversing. Ray spooked, bolted off the road and into the cover of some trees. Ray swore off his nightly walks for a while, but the damage was done, and in nearby Elwood City, rumors began to spread of a man with no face.
Oh no.
The first sighting didn't cause too much of a stir. People just thought the storyteller was tired, crazy, or drunk. But after a few months, a second sighting of an obviously restless Ray Robinson caused something of a frenzy among the local townsfolk. People would scour the length of Route 351 once the sun had set, desperate to confirm the rumors of Charlie No-Face for themselves. But one by one, the people of Elwood found the rumors were all true. As one might expect, Ray's rather unusual appearance was the subject of equal parts fascination and revulsion. But for the most part, those that encountered him were not without compassion. People began to offer him cigarettes or beer, two amenities he'd never had the fortune or misfortune to have partaken in. And like many of us, he found that he enjoyed them. It also seems that he was partial to having his picture taken, as there are many confirmed photographs of Ray with smiling locals, arms around his shoulders as if he were a beloved celebrity. Again, rumors spread that Charlie No-Face liked beers and smokes, and the town folks would bring tributes to Ray on a nearly nightly basis. This only further incentivized his nightly rambles down Route 351, but not everyone who sought him out had good intentions. According to some Elwood residents, Ray was attacked and beaten up on more than one occasion. One person even tells the story of how one particular cruel character filled a bottle of beer up with his own urine, chilled it, and then gave it to the blind wanderer on one of his moonlight jaunts.
Aww.
Some would
That's
stop
just
him,
mean.
offer to give him a ride, then simply drive in the middle of nowhere and kick him out of the car. Shocking, but not surprising, as anyone even remotely familiar with humanity might be quick to remind you. One older Elwood resident tells the story of driving down Wallace Run Road late at night with his friends. They had brought with them a case of beer, a straw, and some cigarettes, and their usual tribute to the Green Man.
Hey there,
Although
Matches, how you
friends had
doing?
seen Charlie No Face before,
Boy, did that make me
our
jump!
narrator had yet to have the pleasure. And when Ray Robinson finally presented himself in the flesh, right in the seat next to him, the man said he was frozen in terror. Everything they said about him was true, and his face really was green. But as it turns out, there's a rather grim reasoning behind this discoloration, as Ray's nose was basically an open wound for his entire adult life.
Oh no.
And as a result, he often suffered from some quite dangerous
Went to the
infections,
gym for an hour and a
thus
half?
turning his
Now
face
you're
a
dead
slightly
tired. Makes
verdant hue.
sense.
People need to understand, the resident was quoted
Did you
as
have a
saying,
good time at the gym?
this was a human being, a real person, and someone who endured one of the most tragic lives I've ever encountered. Underneath it all was this beautiful, kind man. Somewhere, there exists a photograph of Ray Robinson posing with a woman. It's clear that she's happy, that she's unafraid of him, and the way she holds him speaks to the warmth she has for a man she may
Made a
never
friend?
ever
Nice.
have met before. All based on a well-deserved reputation of being
glad to
a
hear
kind
it.
and gentle spirit who wouldn't let a life-changing accident keep him down. There also exists an interview with a man whose brother was killed in action during the Vietnam War. By his own admission, his fascination with Charlie No Face was a rather eccentric one, but he also credits Ray Robinson with helping through the darkest period of grief he'd suffered so far. Ray wasn't just an urban legend. He was a real flesh and blood man, and a good one at that.
Need to focus my core
Ray was living
a
in an
lot.
assisted
Fair
living
enough.
facility when he passed away in 1981. His grave is in the Grandview Cemetery, located at 139 Norwood Drive in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania. And coincidentally, it's just a few plots away from the little boy electrocuted in the exact same manner,
Wow,
just a year
another
before
fucking
his own
bot wanting
accident.
to advertise on my channel.
Occasionally, someone comes along to put fresh flowers down on Ray's grave. It's not clear whether this is one person or many, but the message is clear. Ray's legacy lives on, be it in the terrifying tales of the man with no face, or in the love that those who came to know him show. So here's to Ray Robinson, the urban legend who turned out to be very, very real, and who deserves to rest in the deepest and most heavenly peace.
Yeah.
Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release every Monday, Wednesday, and
liked
Friday
that.
at
That
7
was
p.m.
good.
Eastern Standard Time. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And join a live
Your
stream
lats
on
are
random
huge?
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays.
Wait, what are
and
lats
if you
again?
want to support me even more, grab early access to all future...
Kicking off at number 5, the Loveland Frogmen. Hailing from the misty swamps and vast wetlands of rural Ohio, the Loveland Frogmen, also affectionately known as the Loveland Lizards, are a cryptid
what part
unlike
of the
no
body are
other,
lats
and have
in?
reportedly appeared under several bizarre circumstances on a regular basis in Ohio's Clermont County. Allegedly, the first sightings of these eerie bipedal amphibians first occurred in 1955 and has proven to be one of the most intriguing cryptozoological mysteries in North America. The creatures themselves alleged
I'm gonna interrupt this for a moment because I got to go pee, but I will be right back. Sorry about the timing, but when you gotta go, you gotta go. And I gotta go right now. But I will return as quickly as I can. Oh, you gotta go too, Simon? Okay, well, thank you for hanging out with me. Low back. Oh, I see. Bye, Simon. And for everyone, I'll be back in a jiffy. And I have returned. I think they might actually sub it to the channel that I was watching before, because it wasn't too cringy with the way that he told the stories. Have any of your videos come on Lucid? Yes, they have. We watched Mimic and other one. Maxed lower back yesterday. I see. Got like 210. Nicely done. But yeah, Lucid, your videos got played.
Live in the temperate forests and wetlands of Clermont County and are able to survive the cold winters of the region without having to hibernate. Useful. During their first sighting at approximately 3:30 AM, a local businessman was driven down a lonely stretch of road, running alongside the Miami River on the outskirts of the small town known as Loveland, Ohio. Suddenly and out of nowhere, the man claimed to have witnessed three bipedal quasi-reptilian entities emerge from the dense reeds and begin to congregate by the side of the road. The man slowed down and turned out his lights as he pulled his car up to a curb to observe these creatures further. He claimed that they stood between 3 and 4 feet tall, were covered with leathery skin, and had webbed hands and feet. Their most distinguishing feature though was their distinctly frog-like head, which the man claimed filled deep wrinkles where their hair should have been. Well, since then over 5 more sightings of the Loveland frogmen have occurred over a 60-year period. What do you guys think? What's going on, Ohio? Next up at number 4, the nameless thing of Berkeley Square. And I absolutely love this story either way, because if you've ever heard of the famed 50 Berkeley Square in London, England, then you'll know that, cryptid or not, this place is terrifying enough. It's proof as well that there are some cases out there which irk on the realm of the paranormal and become a category so unexplainable that they don't really fit into anything, or can fit into anything. I don't know, it's pretty nebulous. Either way though, the haunted legacy of Berkeley Square has featured ghosts and poltergeists the world over, and it's widely considered to be one of the most haunted places in England. But there is one particular instance that takes the cake, the nameless thing of Berkeley Square. A tale that takes place in 1840 when a 20-year-old Sir Robert Walboys got into a drunken dare in which he had written off Berkeley Square and its paranormal reputation as a whole load of Kaiser Soze. He put money down that he could spend the night in the building's most cursed and haunted second floor, and so the next evening did exactly that, with a pistol in his hand for robbers, I guess, and a makeshift pulley line attached to a bell in case he saw anything out of the ordinary. He drank a whole load of courage and tried to get some shut-eye, but well, of course, young Bobby Warboy's story cuts out there. When the landlord was awoken by the bell rig ringing incessantly and ran upstairs to check on him, he found Robert Warboys dead as a doornail slouched in the corner with his eyes bulging in terror. Legend has it that the landlord witnessed an amorphous, shadowy form with slime oozing from it, claws and tentacles and all dripping from its form, suddenly slink back into the shadows of the corner of the room and disappear. And since then, tales of the nameless thing of Berkeley Square are more common than any of us would actually like. Swinging in at number 3, the Kinderhook Blob, which is just a great name, really, isn't it? And if I'm being honest, the legend of the Kinderhook Blob is exactly what cryptid tales are made of, so strap in. It's sometime in 1962 New York, and on 6 separate occasions, multiple witnesses encountered a floating, mysterious blob-like creature that was so terrifying in its form that 2 men armed with shotguns fled in terror. The initial encounter was from a 10-year-old boy named Hallenbeck and his 7-year-old cousin Chari. They were playing in the dense woods nearby their house when all of a sudden they both heard this really high-pitched whistle noise, and suddenly from behind a nearby pine tree they witnessed a white amorphous object appear in full view, which slowly began writhing toward them. On 5 more occasions, which insanely would happen over the next 12 years, all the way until 1978, dozens of eyewitnesses would explain in vivid detail similar accounts of an amorphous white blob-like creature that would emerge from the woods, often attaching its tendrils to trees whilst incessantly making its way towards its victims, causing them to flee in terror. So much so that on one occasion 2 grown men tried blowing it to pieces with shotguns to no avail, and then turned tail and ran. What I love about this story is the essence of a cryptid tale. For all intents and purposes, the Kinderhook Blob could be a disused weather balloon floating listlessly through the air, but because it was seen multiple times by multiple people in the right setting, the legend of the terrifying white blob quickly became a horrifying reality. Either that, or it's a sentient alien life form that's going to consume us all, so Coming in next at number 2, the disappearance of Peter Grayson. The Groot slang, or the Groot slang, which in Afrikaans loosely translates to big snake, is a legendary creature widely considered to be one of the continent's most prolific cryptids, and is reputed to dwell exclusively in the deep caves and cavernous systems in the Richtersveld, South Africa. According to legend, the Groot slang is a primordial creature that is reputedly as old as the world itself and dwells within what locals refer to as the bottomless pit, which also, conveniently enough, is also filled with precious diamonds. Well, diamonds historically have a proficiency of attracting daring adventurers, and one of those adventurers just so happened to be an English businessman known as Peter Grayson. In 1917, Grayson and a team of excavators began an expedition into the Richtersveld cave system, accompanied by several local guides. After heading out into the rocky desert landscape, and upon hearing that Grayson intended to descend into the bottomless pit, unwittingly the lair of the Groot slang, the local guides quickly left after warning Grayson that they'd lost friends and family to the violent serpent before, and they weren't going to do it again. He shrugged it off and alongside his 2 excavators headed deep into the cave, and well, that's the last that they heard of any of them. The Grayson dynasty faded into obscurity after their patriarch was never seen alive again, but as the legend goes, one of the local guides returned to the cave a day or so later after feeling guilty for abandoning Grayson and his team. At the entrance of the cave, he found the body of an excavator, half of his body, actually, to be specific. His legs and most of his torso had been ripped clean off, and he died attempting to crawl back out. What a way to go. And finally, coming in at our number 1 spot, the legend of Yuri Grando. And I just have to tell this cryptid story because it's one of my favourites, and it's also considered to be one of the first historical instances of vampirism. As the legend goes, Yuri Grando Aljovic was a villager and poor peasant from the region of Istria, which now makes up modern-day Croatia. Historically, he was referred to as a strigoi, strigon or strigun, a local word for something that resembles a vampire and a warlock. Sometime around 1656, Yuri died due to an unknown illness, but according to legend, he regularly returned from the grave at night as a vampire to terrorize his village until his decapitation in 1672. The legend tells that for 16 years after his death, Yuri would rise from his grave by night and terrorize the village. The village priest Giorgio, who had buried Yuri 16 years previously, discovered that at night somebody would knock on the doors around the village, and on whichever door he knocked, someone from that house would die within the next few days. Eventually, the villagers rallied after witnesses saw the corpse of Yuri roaming the streets, and led by the town's mayor, chased and tried to kill him with a hawthorn stick, but failed to pierce his supernatural flesh. The next night, 9 people went to the graveyard and dug up Yuri's coffin, finding a perfectly preserved corpse with a smile on its face. It was Yuri with pristine white flesh and no signs of decomposition. They tried to stake him once more, but witnesses noted that the stick would not penetrate its flesh. Eventually, the villagers were so terrified and kind of fed up with his vampire antics that a brave villager known as Stipan Milicic took a saw and decapitated the corpse. As soon as it tore Yuri's skin, the vampire screamed and blood began gushing from the cut. Allegedly, a man that was presumed dead for 16 years. Yeah. That one's pretty worrying, right?
Number 5, Kamataichi. I love doing videos and lists like these ones because I get to spend a lot of time researching into these different cultures and cryptids I never really would have known about without these opportunities. So thanks for watching stuff like this so I can keep on doing them. That's my greedy reason behind it. I just like learning. Our first cryptid from the land of the rising sun is going to be the Kamataichi. This yokai appears as a weasel with razor sharp sickle-like claws. If you're a Pokemon head, big Pokemon fan, Sneasel from 2nd Gen, the Dark Ice type, he's based on a Kamataichi. They've got spiny fur similar to a hedgehog, and they bark like a dog, and they have razor sharp claws. These adorable, funny little guys are extremely lightweight, lighter than the wind itself even, and as such, travel by gusts of wind, soaring through the sky like they're radical, furry little windsurfers. Legends of the Kamataichi first came about in the Chubu region of Japan, notorious for its icy, sharp winds that were so powerful they would blow men over. These legends then took the form of the Kamataichi. The winds literally personified as this little vermin miscreant. It attacks you in the legs, and it knocks you over. You're all exposed and helpless. Well, it picks away at your vitals with its little sickle hands. These creatures are surgical when they strike. A Kamataichi sucks away and feeds on any of the gore left behind by their wounds. These creatures are said to be totally stealthy, impossible to see with the naked eye, and blend into their surroundings well. And here's some pedantic little wordplay trivia. I know all the kids at home love pedantic wordplay trivia. There's some debate as to whether or not Kamataichi's name is nothing more than a cheesy pun. There's a stance that old sword fighters in Japan would use called kama kamataichi, translating loosely to sword stance, and well, you can see if you just literally squish those two sounds together. And if you're looking for way more cryptid content, creepy tales, true stories, fake stories, aliens, conspiracies, horror movies, and basically just about everything weird and freaky that could possibly happen on this world, Top 5 Scary is the place to be. So hit subscribe, ring that bell when you do, and stay scared. But also stay watching this video, okay? Nothing I love more than seeing you guys watch them all the way to the end. Now let's keep going. Number 4, Teke Teke. Coming in next is going to be a fairly newer urban legend, but it gripped me so much I had to include it in this. It's the Teke Teke. Teke Teke is a legend about the ghost of a student who was slain when she fell onto a railway line, where she was then split in half by a train. No easy way to say that. Might as well just get it out of the way. Much like an Onryo, which, hold on to that thought for now. We're going to come back to that in a minute. She's a vengeful spirit of a wronged woman who lurks train stations at night, stalking out for her victims. She drags herself across the ground using her arms, dragging the spine sticking out of her torso, scraping across the ground, making a horrifying ticka 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 sound from where she gets her name. And you thought that was just like a cute little sounding name, didn't you? No. Try if you can. Just try to get the mental image out of your head of a ghost girl clawing along on just her hands and elbows and her spine following along behind her. She's also carrying a giant sickle with her, so there's that too. She's really not much of a farmer, so I'll tell you right now, she's not using that for crops. If she finds you, Teke Teke will chase you and slice you in half. Whoops. Some variations say that she only takes your legs, which I guess is better, but really not by much. There's a specific variation of the legend that gives Teke Teke a bit more backstory for her origin, saying her name is Kashima Raiko, and she's a specific entity. She died when her legs were severed from her body, and the next part gets a bit creepy, so you might want to grab onto something. Maybe put a little salt circle around your computer. It's said that when an individual learns of Kashima's story, she'll appear to you within the next month. So start timing now, I guess. Kashima Raiko is said to haunt bathroom stalls asking where her legs have gone. If you answer in a way she doesn't approve of, she'll take them from you. Incredibly bizarrely, most of all, this isn't the only bathroom-themed horror story on this list, and I'm not joking, so we'll talk about that in a minute, but in the meantime, sit tight and wait what I can possibly mean. Number 3, Kamakiri. Something I really like about reading about Japanese yokai and their mythological monsters when you read about a bunch of them is that they tend to kind of fall into 2 categories, you know? It's either the most terrifying thing I have ever heard in my life, a story of a malevolent spirit that's been wronged and will haunt you and do something unspeakable for a painful death, or they're just like weird little goblins or like weird little ghouls that go around doing silly little things. The Kamakiri is one of the silliest little demons I have ever read about, so that's why I'm including them, because they're hilarious. A Kamakiri looks like a weird little bird, like a little bird monster, with a razor sharp beak and very pointed claws. They're teeny tiny and very sneaky to move undetected. So what does the dreaded Kamakiri do? Are you ready for this? Hold on to something, because this is going to terrify you. It breaks into your house at night and it cuts your hair. They hide in your roof and they wait at night for the perfect moment to strike, and then they go in and they just mess up your perfect do. They layer it all weird. They cut the ends right off. They frost your tips, and they go after anyone, okay? They're not picky. If you've got a head of hair, they want to snip it up. Only the baldies are safe now. They wait until you're asleep, and if you're wondering, you're just sitting there like, why would anyone tell a story about this monster? Why would anyone make this up? It was in periods of Japanese history when long hair was really the only fashion and accepted hairstyle. I would have done great. So the idea of a nobleman having his hair cut in the middle of the night was like spine chilling. These days though, it just makes Kamakiri sound like he's like a college prankster than it does a real monster. But that's only half of why I thought this creature was so funny. Aside from the split end touch-ups, a Kamakiri cutting your hair is said to be a sign that the victim is about to unknowingly marry a yokai. Shapeshifters like Yorigumo or Kitsune can trick young men into marriage. So the Kamakiri steps in and he cuts your hair to let you know you might accidentally end up marrying a demon spider shapeshifter woman. And I just got paid to say that sentence out loud. We made it, ma. Kamakiri, you might win the Top 5 Scary Award for one of the funniest cryptids we've ever talked about on the channel. A solid number 2 compared to my true favorite, Name, the demon that comes into your bathroom and eats waste, which I guess would make him number 2. That's the rudest joke I'll ever tell on this channel. I'm so sorry. You guys can cut that if you want. Okay, moving on. Number 2, Akamanto. Akamanto. The Akamanto, also known as the Red Cloak, is a masked spirit and may very well be one of the most evil, weird creatures I've ever heard described in folklore, so just wait till you get a load of this. Not like any good folktale, there are some local variations in how Akamanto operates, but the elements that remain consistent across all tales are that the Akamanto preys on you during your most personal moments. You know, he tends to come for kings who sit on a porcelain throne. He visits you in the smallest room in the house. He catches you with your pants down. This demon comes for you when you're on the toilet, if that isn't quite getting across yet. I didn't know how to just say it. The Akamanto then offers you a deadly choice.
My time.
You
do not invade my time. This is my personal time for me to do my time
like that one scene from Squid Games.
That is my personal time.
The creator of Squid Games
You do not interrupt
this monster is what inspired that scene.
My time. No one else
you didn't know about before, and now you do. Now it's all a trick question. Of course, neither of the toilet papers this ghastly spirit has for you are anything like the Royale kittens. The red paper means you'll find yourself all cut up, leaving behind quite a mess, and the blue option means you'll be left gasping for air, clean but slow and painful. The only way to escape the Akamanto's dreaded game is to tell him you've got enough, actually, and thanks for asking, but you're good. No, really, you just have to ignore him. tell him you're good, or flush quick and hightail it out of him. You know, don't play it smart with him. Don't ask him for purple. Don't ask him for sandpaper. No wise guy answers. He's a toilet paper demon. He doesn't want to hear any of that. It's said that if you mess with him, you mess with the Akamanto, he drives you feet first into the underworld. At least he doesn't flush you. Why did they make that? Why did the backstory behind the toilet paper demon? I do not know. Okay, number 1, Onryo. And our number 1, I went with the Onryo. And Onryo translates almost literally to a vengeful spirit, and in every definition of the words, that statement rings true. They're also sometimes called hatred spirits, because an Onryo is specifically a ghost of someone who is capable of causing grievous harm to the living. Onryo are almost always depicted as women who were wronged in their life. They're not exclusively women, but majority of them are. They were traumatized by their death, and they spend the rest of their days exacting revenge. God forbid women do anything fun, huh? Nailing down exactly what an Onryo is capable of is difficult, because there are so many countless interpretations of the vengeful spirit, but just know at home that nothing good ever comes out of crossing an Onryo. You can expect things like sleep paralysis, telekinesis, curses, evil magic, like I said, really nothing good. It's worth noting that as part of the legend of an Onryo, her vengeance can never be satisfied, no matter how many enemies she fells in her wake. An Onryo will go after her lovers, family, whoever she has the most lingering pain for. And after she's done with that, well, she'll just attack indiscriminately. You gotta do something with the day, right? Onryo are a very traditional Japanese story, popping up in a lot of performance art pieces like No, Kabuki, and Rakugo, and they even continue to be the center stage in modern works. Probably the most famous Onryo I think most Westerners would know about is Sadako Yamamura from The Ring, otherwise known as Samura if you only saw the American version, and if you have, you gotta fix that at some point for me, okay? And Onryo traditionally is described as wearing a white burial kimono. She's got wild, unkempt, long black hair obscuring her face, and in stage plays with dramatic white and blue paint, so just, she looks like the girl from The Ring, basically. And how does one stop an Onryo? Oh, you don't. Yeah, there's nothing. Once she's coming for you, she's coming for you. So, you know, be nice. Just be nice to the ladies in your life and hope that they never come back as vengeful revenge spirits.
Kicking off at number 5, The Silver Woman. And this story comes from a police motorway patrol woman from Portsmouth.
You got games on your phone? Go away. This is Uncle Bob's private time.
Somebody say next gen fan.
Wow, that's topical.
No.
Well, I am.
Oh, I watched the Smash movie the other day, and it was awesome.
You got games on your phone? What the hell?
Watch Your Realms is a brand new game with RPG, fantasy, and beautifully crafted models, all mixed in with a massive variety of gameplay, like tower defense.
Take this and that.
So safe to go alone, take this.
You get to take on the role of a tactical commander and use your resources to build camps, gather gear, and summon heroes to defend your position. There are over 100 heroes from 30 different races and a bunch of factions to make your team with. Watch as they cut down monsters with brutal attacks and AoE spells, all in real-time battles. There is so much to do in this game, whether it's training our heroes, delving into dungeons, collecting gear, or challenging the evil ancient gods.
That's a huge
Yeah,
to celebrate the game's launch, Game Theorists and J-Schlat are going against each other in a big team competition where you can support them and even have a chance to win iPhones and Switches. So click the link in the description or scan this QR code to download Watch Your Realms and get into the competition today. Now onto the video!
Wait, I still need to use the toilet.
This is so nice.
As I said,
You guys
toilet
ready?
time should be private
Yeah.
time.
This is for the greater good.
This game for.
And can someone remind me again why I got roped into this suicide mission?
We need the power star. Apparently there's a star in the old castle that the engineers said they need to complete our new castle.
I've shit my pants.
Come on, Mai, this is it. After this, we will finally have
Oh
a
yeah,
new
Team
home.
and T, can I get your thoughts on something?
Alright then. Ready?
No.
Let's go!
I better not get dirty.
I'm working on the colour wheel that I've been doing with Neko for a while, as you know. I was wondering if you thought that this little pirate I drew, hugging a skull pillow, would make a good emote for Halloween. It would? Okay. You think I should?
You good, bro?
I just my pants.
Uh-oh.
Alright guys, we're almost at the bottom!
Yeah? Awesome. Hey, I appreciate your thoughts on the matter.
You're on your own, buddy. Hey, what are you doing?
I love you!
Go, Mario!
Oh,
Get off, you idiots!
You guys okay?
No, Mario almost killed me.
I mean, what did you expect? Come on, we have a mission. It'll be in Peach's old castle.
Castle? We're in a goddamn hell cave. Ain't no castle here.
Look!
what's this?
Now, WWE presents NXT Great American Bash.
First. Wow! Tiny Texan.
Tonight's inspiring story is about Montgomery Burns, Lupin III, Emperor Lamont, Zack Cato, Carl Carlson, this deranged lunatic.
Do I have to do anything?
No.
I'm Homer Simpson!
Dear Homer, I owe you one emergency donut signed Homer!
Bastard! Next.
Next. Ralphie, get off the stage, sweetheart.
Okay.
This time has to be dinner. Lisa, be dinner.
On his 8th birthday, he was blown.
Can I have this one?
No!
Can I have this one? No! Can I have this one? No! Fine.
No one will ever see you.
He miraculously recovered from his injuries.
Why doesn't Johnny care?
I don't feel very good today. Oh, this is my chance to show everyone my hairy yellow butt. Lenny, tell Mr. Burns I've gone home
To my mansion and eat.
No one goes home!
Damn it! Well, I don't need safety gloves because I'm Homer Simpson. Lobsters!
Well, that was definitely something there, Jade.
Who's gonna go in first? SMG4?
I love how
I'll
the
stand back
Flintstones
and protect
exist
them.
in the
Mario,
Family
why don't you
Guy
go in first?
and Simpsons universe.
I in my pants.
I'll go.
Mario is stinky, he shit in his panty.
See? Nothing to be afraid of.
Give me the spring pad! We're getting out of here! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Ow! What?
Guys! We need to go save Maggie. Hello?
Papadena.
No!
Got to be fucking with me.
You're right. Let's get this over with then.
Mamma mia! Why are we always cast for the creepy ass episodes?
Shut up. Now's no time to break the fourth wall. Wait, what's that?
Breaking the fourth wall!
Wait, stop! It's Peach's crown?
I went through that for Peach's crown.
Nope. What? Oh yeah.
I mean, we clearly didn't care enough if we didn't notice that she was gone.
Whoa! Whoa! Took your stupid bomb test, did you think? The place is caving in! Why the hell did you make bombs into a cave? What did you think would happen?
Shut up! I thought it was cool at the time!
Holy crap, there's an exit! Huh?
See? I told you these bombs would come in handy here.
Are we all alive?
No! What?
Huh? It's Peach's castle. Or what's left of it.
Mamma mia!
Mamma mia,
I don't know,
it's right
but
here.
I have a strong feeling Maggie is here somewhere.
Hello.
Hello! What? Uh-oh.
Whoops.
Oi! Stop screwing around! I think I have something here. You hear that?
What is that?
Oh.
Oh, you know, stop.
Let him cook.
Ooh.
Okay, good. It is a one car.
Huh?
Whoa!
Mamma mia.
No, you idiot! She was taken.
I'll save you, Maggie.
No! It's a trap! Run!
Trap? What do you mean?
Why do I hear boss music?
That's why you hear boss music. Wait, why's Peach got a stash?
Stash.
Oh wait, no, that's just her mouth. It looked like a mustache.
What?
Look at this!
All right. Hey, Stinky! Rip your dick. Magic 4.
Yeah, wait, what about Maggie?
Thanks, guys. That was actually really impressive, Mario.
But I wonder, what happened to Peach?
Isn't it obvious? We left her down here to rot for too long.
Yeah, I agree. This place, it's not good for people.
Elden Ring boss DLC fight.
Dying tickles.
Well, now what? We still don't have that power star, and we only have like 30 seconds of this episode left.
Well, allow me to help.
Is that gonna be me one day if I keep hanging out with you guys?
This is it. This is the final piece of the castle.
Ooh.
Oh, hello there, Marshmallow. How you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
All right, here it is. Let's finish this.
Cream gravy.
Let's give it up to today.
But I want it now!
England, who explains that her career regularly confronts her with situations that are both bizarre and unnerving. But this one kind of takes the cake. On the 25th of November around 6:30 p.m. during a routine speed camera setup in the Portsmouth city centre, her speed trap began picking up random tracings of non-existent objects in pitch black darkness, hurtling past her vehicle at around 30 to 40 miles per hour. Now, I know what you might be thinking, the device was obviously malfunctioning, but that wasn't the case, and our police officer had already thought of that. She trained the camera manually back onto the road surface to see what had been picked up, and she was shocked to discover that on the screen was what could only be described as humanoid figures running up and down the street at about 40 feet ahead of the vehicle. Strangely enough, they seemed to have a silver appearance to them, almost shimmering and translucent. She looked out of the window and again, nothing was there, but when she looked back at the screen, about 10 feet away from the vehicle was one of the same silvery entities standing motionless, facing away from the van, hulking and breathing in a strange fashion, as if they were weighing up taking on the police officer. What were they? Well, we'll never know, and when she played the tape back for her fellow officers, the silvery entities were nowhere to be seen. Yeah, I've got no clue about this one. Coming in at number 4, the folk monster. Now, Bigfoot is obviously the heavy hitter of the cryptid world. People have devoted their entire lives to hunting down the elusive mountain creature, stretching all the way across the wildlands of North America, as well as similar instances across the planet. But there is one little town in America that seems to be the hotspot for these sightings: Folk, Arkansas, and in 1971 it became the scene of its most terrifying legend. Meet Bobby Ford, a man who vehemently claims he's seen Bigfoot, or a version of it, describing it as 7 feet tall, ridiculously fast and covered in long brown hair. And he saw it up close and personal. It was a Saturday when Bobby and his brother were out hunting a short distance from their rural home when they heard screams in the distance. Bobby's wife, Elizabeth Ford, was frozen in horror when a creature reached through the front window, massive and hairy with glowing red eyes that made no sound except for heavy breathing. When Bobby and his brother ran back to the home, the creature turned and grabbed him as he sprinted up to the porch. It tackled him to the ground with ease and then disappeared into the woodland. The creature had left behind clear tracks in the house and nearby area, 3-toed footprints that matched the deep 3-fingered scratches that were made in the wood of the front porch. Bobby Ford was rushed to hospital and treated for minor wounds and shock, and the family were so terrified by the encounter that they moved out. They'd only lived there a week. It's terrible timing. Next up at number 3, the Grey Man of Ben Macdouey. Ben Macdui in Gaelic, Mountain of the Son of Duff, is an awe-inspiring peak of the Scottish Highlands, staking the claim as one of Britain's highest mountains and the highest of the Cairngorms National Park. It's been scaled by countless people throughout history, but there are those that claim that there's something more sinister living out on the mountain. The Grey Man of Ben Macdui, and it doesn't like visitors. The creature is said to be at least 20 feet tall, and one eyewitness of the creature's presence, a respected professor and mountain climber named Norman Colley, said that he was first aware of something following him during his ascent after hearing strange footsteps behind him. Alone, isolated on the mountain, something was following him. And it wasn't human. The footsteps were laborious and delayed, as if that whatever was following him was much, much taller than he was. When he saw it, he described the Grey Man as vaguely human-shaped, brown in hue and fur, and shrouded in a strange grey mist. In 1945, a similar thing happened to a renowned mountain climber named Peter Densham, who described the exact same encounter with the exact same creature. Again, in 1958, the Scots magazine wrote of a similar account from naturalist Alexander Tunion, who this time found himself armed with a rifle and fired several rounds into the Grey Man. He thought he'd hit it, whatever it was, but after trekking over through the snow, found no sign of the creature. It vanished away like fog rolling across a mountain, and the mystery of the Grey Man of Ben Macdui remains unsolved. Swinging in at number 2, the Cabbagetown Tunnel Monster, which is an urban legend from my current stomping grounds of Toronto, Ontario, that is grounded in such bizarre circumstances that it remains a warning not to go wandering through the dark tunnels of downtown Toronto. I'm talking about the path. Ever. Don't go there. In 1978, in the eastern Cabbagetown district of Toronto, a 51-year-old man known as Ernest had a terrifying encounter in the network of tunnels that sprawl beneath the city. He had been out searching the neighborhood for a missing kitten that him and his wife had been raising when he stumbled across a tunnel entrance and decided to explore. After venturing 10 feet into the gloom, Ernest suddenly came across a creature that looked somewhat like a long, thin monkey, around 3 feet in height, with large teeth and covered in grey fur. It had unsettling eyes, he described, that peered out of the darkness in a bright orange hue. Even more unsettling, Ernest claimed that the creature spoke to him. "Go away, go away," it said in a hissing voice before slinking down a tunnel off onto the side. Ernest was reluctant to come forward with his story. He was a respected member of the community and he feared that he'd be ridiculed by his peers, but after being convinced by a friend, he spoke to the Toronto Sun, and a group of journalists and investigators followed him into the same tunnel. Although they didn't see the creature, they did see that the narrow tunnel led to a strange, gloomy chasm that dropped into the unseen sewer system below. And even stranger, they found the maimed, half-eaten carcass of a cat buried loosely beneath the dirt and debris. It permeated the legend of the Cabbagetown Tunnel Monster, and whatever it was, we may never know for sure. Just stay away. And finally, our number 1 spot, the Jersey Devil. Of course, it has to be perhaps one of the most notorious cryptids of all time, the famed Devil of Jersey, whose origin dates all the way back to when New Jersey was still a British colony. Hundreds upon hundreds of tales have been spawned from the legend of the Jersey Devil, dating from the early 1700s right up to recent times. As the legend goes, Mrs. Jane Leeds came from a poor family who carved out an existence in the bleak pine barrens of Jersey, a rugged place with dense forests, sandy soil, and deep swamps. In 1735, Mrs. Leeds discovered that she was pregnant with a 13th child, which is, as they say, unlucky for some. Now, Mrs. Leeds wasn't too keen on giving birth, to say the least, and she claimed to friends and relatives that the devil can take the next one. And that's exactly what he did. When the baby was born, it was monstrous, with a scaly reptilian body, a horse's head, bat's wings, and a long forked tail. He spread his wings, shot up out of the chimney, and soared out across the pine barrens. The legend of the Jersey Devil was born. Now, whatever you think of this cryptid, truth, or urban legend, it's the frequency that the Jersey Devil appears in contemporary folklore that is important. Hundreds of people have reported sightings of a strange, bat-like creature with wings and a forked tail, flapping its wings across the pine barrens and cackling into the night. In 1816, Joseph Bonaparte, the brother of Napoleon, reported seeing the creature while hunting game in the woods. In 1840, a respected minister pointed his congregation towards a ghastly creature flapping above his church, and in 1909, literally thousands of people saw the same creature on the same day, at the same time, at multiple locations. In fact, it got so bad that schools had to close down and people just flat out refused to go outside. And still, to this day, New Jersey natives will warn warn you to tread carefully in the Pine Barrens.
Number 5, Mothman. We had to start with a classic. He was either going to be number 5 or number...
Haunted Mansion. Remember that one from 2003 with
No.
Donkey from Shrek? The one that absolutely flopped? Yeah, we're not talking about that one today. Or the one that flopped in 2023. Really not a great time to release a movie, Mr. Disney. We're talking about this 2004 PS2 game. Yeah, my brain hurts.
And where's Eddie Murphy, you might ask? I don't know, making Norbit 2 or something? Instead, we get Zeke. And boy, what a character Zeke is. The PS2 game's actually based on this old Disneyland ride from 1969, and not the 2003 movie. Yeah, we know, this is all very confusing. Leave a like for more PS2 games, and subscribe if you haven't.
The Haunted Mansion Iced Coffee Don't Shit Your Pants Challenge.
Ooh, good luck. This game's scary.
I'm gonna poop in my gamer chair. I'm gonna poop in my gamer chair. Max, do you remember when we went to the Haunted Mansion together?
I do. Remember when we rode on Space Mountain together?
Yeah, that was great. And then there was the racist ride. Do you remember that?
Oh, no. Here we are, the Haunted Mansion. I remember I rented this game as a kid when the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion film came out.
Right, yeah.
And I was very surprised that you don't play as Eddie Murphy. It's not based on the movie, it's based on the ride.
You play as this white guy. Who's this fucking guy? It's not Eddie Murphy.
It's not Eddie Murphy. Who is that? Alright, enter the Haunted Mansion.
Not
Hell
Eddie
yeah.
Murphy
New
at
game,
all.
new game, new game.
You get 6 chances at a new game.
Oh, difficulty mode. Nightmare.
Yeah, don't do that, dude. It's gonna be a fucking nightmare to record this if you do that.
Here he is, Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy.
Who is this guy?
It's Luigi from Luigi's Mansion.
It's Luigi.
It does look a bit that way.
The struggle to find employment increasingly took him beyond the outskirts of New Orleans itself.
He's looking for employment in this fucking old mansion.
I don't think you're gonna find any job opportunities in there, dude.
He certainly looks like an
Oh my god. Oh dear.
Who the hell is this?
The Civil War era ghost.
So it's a racist
died,
ghost.
dude.
We couldn't just have the newspaper ad read, "Wanted, brave soul to rid haunted mansion of evil spirits," now could we?
Why does her bowl keep going green?
It's got RGB, dude, to make it go faster.
Yeah, she's got the gaming crystal ball. Oh no, not this guy.
It's a demon. It's a demon. Damn, dude, look at that bling. He's got a whole bejeweled ass cape.
I know, right? How much do you think that jewel would cost?
10,000 demon bucks.
He's actually some kind of like otherworldly rapper.
The soul's corruption will slowly be reversed, returning them to their good and former selves. As the good power of these souls increases in the beacon, their
What the fuck are you talking about? It's like when they try to explain the physics behind ghosts in Ghostbusters.
It was just like, guys, stop. Just stop doing that. Go chase down the goop again. You can suck it into your little box and call it a day.
very weakly. So we
That's his pickup animation. I love it.
This character's winning me over, dude. I might like him more than Luigi by the end of the video. He's so likable. Look at his face.
All right, here we are in the next generation of Luigi's Mansion.
Wow, Luigi's Mansion 4.
They got rats in it.
Can you suck him up like in Luigi's Mansion 3?
I don't think I can suck anything. Oh, I can shoot. Take this, you stupid ghost bastard.
Dude, it feels so weird. We're playing basically a Halloween game in August, right?
I know it's a little early, but you know, the new movie's out, so we have to.
Why did Haunted Mansion come out in August?
Because I don't want it to do well.
Oh yeah, I forgot Disney does that sometimes. Ooh, it's a Magic the Gathering
It's
card.
a money write-off.
Doctor Who set?
I
Part
thought
of Madame
they were
Leota's
just going
long-lost
to say
deck
bejeweled
used to channel
house
spirits
instead
and
of
provide protection
talking
from
about the
evil
cake.
forces.
I
Collect
know,
10 to get
right?
extra life. 15 spirits? I've only got 8. Where the hell am I supposed to get the rest of them from?
Do we just keep opening these boxes? Can you go back down into that hole where you came from? No, I guess not. It's like closed off.
No, I did it. I opened it.
Ooh, back down into the pit.
Has she got any ghosts in here that I can use? Yes. Look, a chest that I can't open. You got to look for things that are like undulating, and then you can touch them.
Undulating, nice word, dude. Undulating.
Look, this is undulating. So I suck them up.
But it's too late now. Much too
I'm
late
sure
for
you
all of
do.
us.
Okay, it's a meth addict. All right, just walk away, pretend like you didn't hear him. Do we have enough to get out of this fucking this place? We got 15, right?
We do. I got 15 souls. Yeah, it's like Pikmin.
Yeah, this is just like Pikmin 4.
He is such a memorable character, isn't he? What's his name? I've forgotten his name.
They gotta put this guy in Smash Bros.
Oh, that's really cheap. The mansion doesn't want me going upstairs.
It's gonna happen on this side too.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh, spiders.
It's a spider!
What the fuck is going on? It's like Resident Evil 1. I'm getting sucked in.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
That's kind of cool.
That is cool. That's really cool. Oh, I'm going between paintings. You know what? Haunted Mansion, you're winning me over.
Yeah. +1 point for creativity. Very cool. I gotta go take a shit.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I'll be back.
Oh, but what about the cutscene? You're missing the cutscene.
Okay. I'll stay for the cutscene.
That was the cutscene.
That's great.
Good job you're back. This song was driving me fucking mad.
With this fucking gargoyle staring at you the whole time. So what is this fucking weapon you have, dude? This thing is crazy. It's like...
It's EGAD's newest invention, a fucking machine gun.
Dude, they should add this into Fortnite.
They should do, yeah.
Ooh, look at all these two-dimensional books.
50 Shades of Grey on here. Oh, look.
Oh, see, this is
Oh,
cool.
no, your
This is
mom's
cool. They're
book collection.
They're doing things, you know? We play a lot of games where they don't do things. Whoa. Did you see that thing outside? That giant thing outside?
What? I missed it.
I swear to God, there was a giant beast outside, dude. I just played Luigi's Mansion 3 recently for the first time. I gotta go back and play the other ones, dude.
Great games.
Hopefully they do like a Switch port of the first game. They'll probably do that, right? Nintendo likes money.
Oh, yes, yeah. They'll just port everything over and make you buy it again.
I love that.
Oh. What is that? Voodoo doll?
Yeah, perhaps.
Because we are in New Orleans. Oh, it's a Mumbo doll. Yay!
Yay, we turned on the lights. That's the goal of the game, to just turn on all the fucking lights.
I need to make sure the lights are on so it looks like people are home and so people don't come in and think that this place is vacant.
You're home aloneing it.
I'm home aloneing it, yeah. Except I'm not being chased by Joe Pesci.
I mean, as far as you know. You never know. The wet bandits could be in here.
Who's that guy?
Oh, God.
What?
Oh, dude, see, I
It's
told
Joe
you the
Pesci.
pictures outside. I swear I saw something like
I
that.
actually want to read 50 Shades of Grey. It's kind of soft.
Oh, no.
Come on, dude. Pick up the pace,
Oh
man.
my God.
There are much kinkier books out there.
Oh my God.
Holy shit. Boss battle.
Here we go. It's Alec Baldwin. Just spam, dude. Just fucking spam.
Oh, shit.
Oh, no.
Oh, I killed it.
Oh. Oh my God. Oh my God. What happened?
Do I have to play billiards or whatever this is?
Oh,
Pool?
this is cool. This is cool, dude.
Uh-oh.
Watch
that
out.
doesn't look good. Oh!
Oh my God. Nice jump.
Do I just have to let the ghosts play a game?
Yeah, we have to watch them play a fucking game of pool.
I think it is trying to hit me. So I think I need to, like...
Oh my God.
Be in the way. That's fucking annoying when I'm being chased by ghosts.
Okay, I don't think you'll get hit if you stand there.
Oh, look at that! Yeah!
Nice shot, dude.
Oh.
Why does this
Yes,
look up
yes.
like Luigi's
Oh my
Mansion
God,
though?
Come on, dude. Yeah, I did
Money?
it!
Let's go.
Oh, I got
I
the
don't know.
light switch.
Speaking of shooting
a
in
similar
the
type
dark,
of game,
I have
I
this.
guess.
It's one of them soul gem thingamajigs for that there beacon lantern of yours. Here.
Ooh, purple gem. Purple gem.
Oh, what the fuck is happening?
Whoa. You went up to 170.
I can fire power shots. Power shot. Oh, but this is just more effective.
Yeah, what's even the point of that?
There's no point.
When you can just spam.
So the soul gems are just giving me power. So they basically are the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, I guess so.
Each one gives me a new power. Oh, they're watching me.
This is just like in the Haunted Mansion wide.
Oh, look, he's scary. Spiders are an actual threat. You know, I don't think ghosts can do that much, but spiders, if they're toxic, they can bite you.
Yep, and if they're radioactive, they turn you into Spider-Man. And that means you will have great responsibility.
And if they're a radioactive beetle, you turn into Blue Beetle.
No, we can't talk about Blue Beetle, Max. It's banned from the channel, right? People got mad.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry, Blue Beetle fans.
I'm not.
Where am I supposed to be going?
Oh God. Oh no.
Creepy ghost girl. Ow. Here we have a kitchen with the fucking ghost from The Ring.
Yeah, oh my God. That is terrifying. Oh my God.
Oh, she's evil.
Okay, just fucking spam, dude. Just spam your orbs. And she died.
I did it.
She fucking died. Oh my god. You went flying.
He got hit.
Oh man.
Hey, you suffer anxiety attacks. Acute paranoia? Always feel like something horrible could leap out at you at any moment?
Yeah, actually, no, I do feel like that.
Well then, do I have a tonic for you, friend?
Oh my god, he's about to prescribe me Xanax, dude. Nice.
Pop 2 Xannies every day for the rest of your life. Oh no, what's gonna happen here? Why is the wall got a light
Oh no. This is what happens in the Haunted Mansion ride?
I guess it's kind of similar to what happens because the elevator room moves, doesn't it?
I've actually never been on the Haunted Mansion ride other than the one that we went on virtually in that fantastic Disneyland game.
Check that video out if you haven't. Is it like a maze? Oh, don't tell me it's like a maze, but with the walls constantly moving.
Yeah, it is a maze.
It's like I have 0 field of view, basically.
Oh my god, look how many there is. Holy sh... Dude.
I'm gonna die.
Oh my god, look at his face. He's doing the Poggers face.
No, I'm fine. I'm sure he'll be along soon.
He died and you died, and you're never getting married because you both died on your wedding day.
Womp womp.
The dining room.
The spookiest room of all, the dining room.
This is a big-ass dining room. Holy shit. How many people are dining in here? Rich people, am I right? These guys are annoying.
Luckily, you have the most overpowered weapon in the whole game right off the bat, and you just spam R1 and kill anything in a second. Like, what could you possibly be given that would help you? You know, like, this thing is insane.
Uh-oh.
No.
They're doing that thing from the Haunted Mansion, the ride.
No, they're doing the candle thing.
I've got to turn them on by running over them.
Oh,
this game looks so boring.
I'm making a little conga line of candles.
Conga, 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 candle, candle, conga.
That just randomly reminded me of Viva Pinata.
Ah, Viva Pinata. I love that game.
We gotta play that.
Oh, we definitely do. I love Viva Pinata. This is pretty fun. It's pretty, even though at the end of the day all you're doing is collecting these things, at least, you know, it's got something to it.
Gives you a different puzzle in each room.
It's got substance. Yeah, kick these plates. Get out of here. Look at the rich. Eat the rich.
Elon Musk.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Julius Caesar.
Damn, you got me.
The Emperor in danger.
It is him. It's Julius Caesar.
I'm afraid you underestimate the loyalty of my
How the fuck they get Julius Caesar in
you get stabbed.
American Mansion?
I'm
sorry, buddy.
Are you about to ball in the ballroom?
We're about to ball out, dude. It's me a room full of balls. Oh, dude, this is about to be a boss battle. It's about to be epic.
Oh no. Oh, there's the light switch. Easy to get to. Hell yeah. Can't see how this would possibly turn into a big boss battle like Dark Souls. You ain't stopping me. I'm going right for that light switch.
Don't stop me now. I'm having such a good time. I'm having a ball in the ballroom. Don't stop me. No, there's big old bullocks everywhere.
It's the Bullock Room Challenge.
Oh my god, what are we supposed to do? We can hardly move.
I can't move at all, dude. I can't move. Am I supposed to let these guys suck me in? Because they can suck me.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm killing them, but they're supposed to pull me.
Yeah, let them suck. Let them give you the old suckaroony.
Oh, this is the big one. He's going to give me the big suck.
Yeah, it's a big chungo suck, dude.
I can't see its health bar.
Yeah, just keep spamming R1.
I'm dead.
Oh my god. He deals a lot of damage.
I respawn.
You love balls.
He does deal a lot of damage. Look at that.
Holy okay,
oh my god, dude.
He has no HP. How is he alive? Does he have 2 health bars? What's going on? Okay, there we go.
Oh yeah, how's your femboy going?
Alright then. Oh no, not this fucking guy.
It's the demon from the great beyond. This is his favorite move to do. That little thing, that little dance move. Oh god, his health bar is so huge. Oh, never mind.
He's like when a Sith shows up and they think they're fucking hot shit. So they just stand there wiggling their hands for like half an hour.
Oh, dude, our weapon is so OP. Look how much damage it does.
He can't do anything. He spawns in, wiggles his hands to spawn his maggots in, and then dies.
You know how there's like those videos where it's like top 10 weapons in gaming?
Yeah.
Dude,
Fair enough.
This should be one of them.
This has to be one of them.
I'm glad that you guys are happy.
Is it Mozart or Beethoven?
I don't know.
Both of them.
Yeah, they just both of them combined.
It's Mozart.
I don't believe a word of this rubbish. I wouldn't put my music before my own life. That would be, well, never mind.
No, you died at the piano. You shat yourself to death.
Do you smell something?
Yeah, it's your own from when you died. Did I go down here already?
Ooh, the graveyard. I think we can go in there now.
340. The graveyard is downstairs, as every graveyard should be.
Mm-hmm. That's where my graveyard is, downstairs. That's where Grandpa is.
There he is. First of all, this isn't a graveyard. This is a crypt.
Those are two very different things, all right? I also have a crypt in my basement, though. I've got a crypt in my basement that leads to a graveyard.
You've got the catacombs of Paris, France in your basement.
Yep, pretty much.
I need you to the other 3 members of my quartet. When you find them, be sure and wake them up for me.
How am I supposed to know who fucking sings, man? This guy?
Brother Zeke.
Oh, he sings. What did he say?
He said, Brother Zeke.
Brother Zeke.
Oh, so I gotta get all the Brother Zekes. Which one's gonna be Brother Zeke in this one? This guy?
Don't bother me, Zeke.
What?
Brother Zeke.
This is...
Brother Zeke. Brother Zeke. Yeah, I got the quartet.
Oh my god, what is that?
Yay! They're singing, just like in the movie and the ride.
This is fan service, dude.
This is fan service at the highest level.
Okay, Haunted Mansion for PS2. Surprisingly good. This is one of the games that's actually surprisingly good.
Yeah, you know what? I was pleasantly surprised that this game was decent. I remember it from my childhood, as I said, but I don't remember that much of it. I think I remember up to, like, the kitchen.
Seemed kind of dumb to me.
Number 1, and I figured we'd get him out of the way first. He's maybe one of the most universally recognized and classic cryptids out there. He's West Virginia's unofficial mascot, and he's as beloved as the Appalachians and buckwheat pancakes. You've probably heard of Mothman a bunch before, but do you know his backstory? You know where his legends and his legacies start? Unless you're a West Virginia native, maybe not, so let's shed some light on the Mothman, because he would probably love that. You know, he's a moth, he's drawn to it. Most Mothman fans agree that his first reported sighting was in the 1960s, 1966 to be exact. The story goes that a young couple, one Roger and Linda Scarberry, had been driving around at night when they saw a large creature whose eyes were glowing red, standing at the side of the road near the site of an old World War II munitions plant. Linda described as being 7 foot tall, muscular, with giant wings and nightmarish glowing red eyes. Upon being illuminated, the creature pursued them all the way to Point Pleasant. Now, one isolated sighting does not make a cryptid legend, so it was probably the repeated sightings that propelled our favorite moth into legend status. For the next few weeks, Virginians kept reporting sightings of a bizarre, large, bird-like creature with glowing red eyes. On December 15th, 1967, the Silver Bridge in West Virginia collapsed, with several locals conspiring that the Mothman was involved, and could be seen flying away from the crime scene. I always thought he was benevolent, just like a fun, I don't know, guy. I didn't know he did stuff like that. This is unwelcome news. Maybe it's just because we all like the idea of him so much. He does look weirdly cuddly, but Mothman is an absolutely beloved figure to West Virginia and cryptid fans all over. He's kind of larger than life, and it's easy to forget that the first initial sightings and reports of him was that he was a paranormal threat intent on harming humans, considering just how adorable he is now. He's got movies, stuffed toys, and even a festival in his hometown dedicated to celebrating our favorite freak. And if you're looking for more stories of freaks of nature, or the nature of freaks, stories too good to be true and stories too true to be good, well, we've got all of that and then some on Top 5 Scary. Click through, I guarantee you'll find something you like, and then subscribe and stay scared if you do. But hey, keep watching this video first, because we got way more cryptids to get through before we hit the credits. Let's keep going. Number 4, the Rougarou. Oh, that is so fun to say. Say that at home with me around. Rougarou. Oh, rolls off the tongue. Our next entry takes us deep into the swamps of Louisiana. Deep beneath the brush of the bayou, amidst all the flies, crawfish, toads, and gators, lies something sinister in the sunshiny Pelican State. Alright, I'll knock that off. I won't do that for the rest of the video. I won't torture you. The Rougarou is a centuries-old cryptid, a more Cajun answer to the werewolf. The name Rougarou actually is a direct link from the French word for werewolf, loup-garou, shifting over time. If you L to an R if you can hear it there, I don't know. My accent's not great. The history of the Rougarou can vary greatly, with differing legends and conflicting fables telling different stories of the beast's origins or motives, but it can all be traced all the way back to medieval France. Back in those days, a lot could go wrong. Lost crops, Your livestock goes missing, your children go missing, your house burns down, all your investments in cryptocurrency go up in smoke, and all your apes get stolen. Any number of terrible things could happen to a French medieval peasant. And when that would happen, instead of cursing out or lashing out at the sky, you would blame the Rougarou for your troubles. It's very easy to pin all your problems on an imaginary werewolf. I do that all the time. I stub my toe, I curse out a werewolf. Villages would capture people who they believed to be acting strangely, or even sometimes just somebody who lived out in the woods, and pin all the blame on the village's problems on them for being a werewolf. So unfair, the discrimination werewolves receive. This tradition of blaming an invisible werewolf for your problems led to the Rougarou becoming a fixture in legends passed down from French Catholics, mostly about behaving. Stories would be told of how if you didn't behave, you didn't follow your parents' rules, the Rougarou would come and he'd snatch you from your bed in the middle of the night and carry you off in the woods. Or sometimes he's like a very Catholic monster. If you didn't adhere to the rules of Lent every year, your sinful ways would see you transforming into a Rougarou. So it's a Catholic werewolf born out of naughty behavior instead of being bit by one. How exactly someone like transforms into a Rougarou is not made super clear. Like if it only happens on full moons or if it's a one and done kind of thing and then you're a furry for life. All that's known is that the Rougarou is a deadly creature of the night, stalking the swamps, giving pause to travelers who dare explore the bayou late at night. But hey, so long as you mind your P's and Q's and you promise to give up whatever you said you would for Lent, you and the Rougarou should be headed in different directions. Hopefully. Number 3, skinwalkers. This one is a very popular cryptid online, and you've probably heard a great deal about them before if you're a fan of this kind of thing. But the term does kind of get thrown around a lot and ends up describing all sorts of things that might not be super accurate. So let's take a look at examining some of the history of the legend and where it stems from. Skinwalkers are apparently like really viral on TikTok. I wouldn't know. I gotta be honest, I try to really limit how much time I'm on that. The skinwalker is a creature of Navajo legend where it's referred to as a Yi Naldushi, and please forgive me if that's pronounced incorrectly. It translates to, by means of it, it goes on all fours, referring to their tendency to walk like an animal. Navajo witches and skinwalkers go against traditional Navajo values and are seen as the antithesis of their core beliefs. As well, it's worth adding, legends of skinwalkers and Navajo witches are not particularly well known or well told outside of indigenous communities, and some indigenous advocates and groups are not the biggest fan of their folklore and cultural history being made into fodder for ghost stories. Animals commonly associated with skinwalkers are coyotes, wolves, foxes, eagles, owls, or crows, but skinwalkers are said to be able to have the power to assume the form of any animal they see fit. Now, a variation of the legend surrounding the creature is that they're able to extend this ability to taking the face of a human victim, which is extremely scary. Some legends say that skinwalkers gain power from a victim's fear and that they prey on those who are afraid. And some state that looking into the eyes of one will cause your body to seize up, overtaken by the fear, where it will then attack you. On TikTok, as I've come to understand from some very intensive research and definitely not just goofing off at my desk watching TikToks of cats falling down on my phone, is that skinwalkers are popularly thought to be a creature imitating humans or animals and doing a poor job of it. Which case, if that is true, the likelihood of me being a skinwalker? Sky high. Number 2, Mongolian deathworm. Our next entry is a cryptid whose name really says it all. If you ever hear something get described as a Mongolian deathworm, you have to figure that is probably not the friendliest form of life out there. For starters, it sounds like it would be way more at home in the dunes of Arrakis than it would be on our Earth. That one's for my Frank Herbert heads out there. The creature is also called Ogoi Korkoi, which translates to large intestine worm, which is, that's just lovely. Appetizing. It allegedly lives in the Gobi Desert, has been evading hunters since the 20s when it first rose to prominence. A paleontologist and author going by the name of Roy Chapman Andrew recounted a story he'd heard at a gathering with several Mongolian officials, where they all talked of the worm at great length. Now, no one among them could claim to have actually seen it, but everyone firmly believed in its existence. In this book, he describes the worm as being about 2 feet long, with no head or limbs to speak of, and has such poisonous skin that direct contact is enough to have you buying the farm. It's described as well as having a sprayable venom and an electric discharge. You should probably see a doctor for that. It burrows underground, only coming up to the surface to hunt and eat, presumably. In 1990, Czechoslovakian cryptozoologist and, wow, that's a mouthful, Ivan Mackerel led a team to try and find the creature in the Gobi Desert. This I love so much because Dune is my favorite book. They used the same technique that the Fremen of Arrakis used to try and find these worms that the Fremen used to do with the sandworms, they used a rhythmic thumping made from a motor-driven thumper to try and summon the creature out of possible hiding spots. They never found the fabled worm, and that's because they weren't taking spice, so they couldn't see properly. So either it was just a dream, or the thing is very, very good at hiding. And I think with a little work, that could make a fun expression. Oh, it's as hard as trying to find a worm in a desert. We'll workshop it. Number 1, Gashadokuro. And our final entry is gonna come from Japan, and as a fabled mythological creature, and may I just say, is one of my favorite mythical monsters I've read about in a while. As soon as I was reading about this thing, I started texting my friends. I was so excited about it. This thing is a real-life Dark Souls boss fight. Maybe I'm outing myself as way too much of a nerd here, but this thing is where the inspiration for High Lord Walnir and Grave Lord Nito of Dark Souls fame came from. I couldn't resist throwing it out there. Sorry, guys. Formed from tens of thousands of bones of fallen soldiers, the Gashadokuro is a massive titan of a beast, a gigantic skyscraper-sized skeleton. Is that not the coolest thing you've ever heard? A giant which wanders around the countryside during the darkest hours of the night. Their teeth chatter and their bones rattle, which is why the translation for their name translates loosely to rattling skull. You'd have to imagine though, you would probably hear this thing chattering its teeth from a few hundred miles away. You'd hear it in the next town over. It's said that the Gashadokuro is born when mass amounts of soldiers die on the same battlefield. Their bodies rot in the fields, and they don't receive proper funerary rites. As such, their souls are filled with torment as their bodies lay face down in the muck, and that malice permeates their bones, causing them to twist and mend into unnatural ways, clumping together to eventually form the humongous skeletal monster of a boss fight, the Gashadokuro. Now, troublesome for humans, it's said that a Gashadokuro is too large and too powerful to be felled by ordinary weapons. Although, I have to wonder if that's still true. I feel like we put more gunpowder in things in 2023 than they did in the Sengoku period, and I'm pretty sure a bulldozer would make short work of a bunch of bones being held together with hatred. It's said that these creatures no longer show up because the amount of dead bodies in one place are not nearly as high as they once were in rural areas of Japan back then, with significantly less wars and plagues occurring, which is a sign of progress, right? You know, if there's so few piles of mass graves that they're no longer reanimating as Godzilla-sized skeleton demons, that's a real positive note for the human race, and I think something we can all smile about. Number 5, Snow Wasset. Coming up first on our list of...
Okay, now that we have that sorted. Ooh, they're drumming. That's different. But first we should do the raid message. So we go flame, those Pyrussy because I'm sassy. I'm sassy. And now we add a couple of the rock fingers because I made that available for everyone. And then we go paste, 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 paste the message, paste the message. Okay, so here's the raid message, guys. I hope that you will copy and paste it into his chat when you get there so that they know who sent you. But first I should get this raid underway. RHYTH THMREAP. There we go. Let's get this raid underway. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it. And I hope that you guys have a good weekend and that I shall see you guys on my next stream, which will be the one with Koji on the Wednesday. You guys are awesome. And yeah, I'm Pyra Z, your little fireflower. Now let's raid, motherfuckers. Let's raid!
but sometimes trying to remember all the different distinction of what's what, I'm just like, what's what? Hey! Pyra Z VTuber, thank you for the raid.
I love it when they
How are you
acknowledge
doing? Put on background music for a moment.